Years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Those machines flew for 37 straight hours. They didn't stop. They went skedaddle. You know the word skedaddle? It means skedaddle. They dropped the bombs and somebody said, skedaddle. Let's get the hell out of here.
This guy.
You know the word skedaddle? It means skedaddle.
I think it's an interesting way to refer to what your B-2 bombers were doing.
That too.
At a cabinet meeting, the 6th cabinet meeting of Donald Trump's presidency today. It's actually still going on right now. We can cue it up here and maybe dip into it for just a second. But all I think about is the people, the whoever's in charge, whoever's left in charge in Iran, they're watching this. And they're like, they understand English. But when he says, do you understand skedaddle? I wonder who he's talking to. It's probably not high on the list of words you learned in the English language. So he's like, I'll explain it to you. It means skedaddle. What are the words that sound like what they...
Onomatopoeia?
Is that onomatopoeia? Like poof or something like that?
Yeah. Glad I knew that.
I know. I think that you are 70% sure, and I don't know, so I'm going with it. Is that right?
I'm 80% sure.
You're 80% sure?
It's words that sound like the sound.
Like buzz.
Are you confident in that?
Yeah, I'm very confident in that.
Okay.
So we'll go with it.
Well, skedaddle. I could use that as an out on the show. Can we work that in? Like at the end of the show?
The word skedaddle?
Yeah, it's time to skedaddle.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Don't skedaddle. Mark Reardon's coming up next.
Well, that's a great tease. Tune in at 2:56.
Mm-hmm. And we'll say that.
When Annie says skedaddle again.
I know. What a reason to tune in to make sure that, in fact, you can hear me say skedaddle again. I don't know. I just think I find it interesting. Another thing that popped up a little bit earlier, we used this as a YouTube poll yesterday. Kind of felt bad about it after the president started speaking about... So he was asked at this press conference, which, again, is still going on right now. He was asked about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, he's doing his Donald Trump thing, which is he's got a list of things he likes to talk about, feels needs to be talked about, and he's going to go through them. He went over the entire stupidity of the Afghanistan withdrawal earlier in this press conference. Went through the whole thing, referred to the previous administration as dumb. I'm not even joking. Probably more than 25 times so far. And he continues to talk about the things that wouldn't have happened if he were the president in the term before, and things that are amazing that wouldn't have happened if anybody else were the president right now. But, as you know, Jeffrey Epstein, certainly in the story, a major part of the story right now. And people are wondering what is going on with what the Trump Justice Department is doing with this story. And so a reporter asked the question, and Trump reacted like this.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure.
Just to interrupt there, how do you feel about that?
I get what he's saying. I mean, you're talking about big issues, especially with Texas.
You're talking about time and place?
Time and place, but I don't even know that this is a wrong time and place to ask that question, though.
You have the audience with the president, and you had the opportunity to ask a question. You have to ask the question you want answers to.
I agree.
Here's Pam Bondi's
All right, first,
answer.
to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
Her voice is what makes her look weak. She has a shaky voice.
Yeah.
She always sounds like she's got a quiver in her voice. That just might be how she talks.
Yeah.
That's going to maybe be a detraction towards her because she doesn't command this really, resolute strength when she speaks. But what she's saying there, what she is quantifying, we played that clip yesterday. Everybody's played that clip yesterday of Pam Bondi saying, like, I have the files on my desk. I appreciate that she's giving an explanation of what she meant by that, but I don't think that when she ran to a television camera to do that interview in February, I don't think that she meant with her words that she said what she's saying now that she meant. Not just a proximal file is sitting on my desk and I'll look over it and see what actually is true. It was sensational the way that it was presented before, and that's intentional.
Yes, I, just like everybody else, watched that clip yesterday and the day before because it was kind of breaking that night. And I do think that's what she meant when she was saying that in the clip. However, you're doing an interview on the topic because that is sensational.
You'd have to be purposefully, intentionally subdued on that subject. You'd have to overcompensate a subdued approach to say, listen, I've got the files on my desk right now. I have not reviewed them yet, and I make a promise to you, the American people, that I will reveal everything that I could reveal to you in truth and honesty and sincerity without any sort of sensationalism involved. I have not reviewed them yet, but I do have them sitting on my desk.
My problem with her and this topic is not that phrase or that interview that she did. It's that she's said elsewhere that we have thousands, 10,000 hours,
truckloads maybe,
of video, and this list. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here, but this list doesn't have to be a literal list that they found in a book. Then
so
they go,
you think they're being a little too literal in their words?
Yes.
Well, here's more.
That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that? There was
interrupting. She's like, we released the video. It wasn't conclusive. But anyway.
But why release it? Because it just adds fuel to the fire.
Was a minute that was off the counter, and what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999, so every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night, and that's it on Epstein.
You have 10,000 hours of video that includes child porn. There are other people than children in those videos, which means...
I think that what she said is that he just downloaded them.
Oh, they're not videos of his
No, he just
mansion.
accessed them.
Oh,
And
that's news to me.
And there's no... That's what I understood there. And there's no indication that any of what was there was generated from Epstein. It's just stuff that he possessed. And there's no reason, obviously, to release that to the public.
Got it. Well, that makes more sense. But again, make that clearer, Pam Bondi. Because I just listened and didn't get that.
She's not convincing.
No.
she could know exactly what she's talking about, and she could be measuring her words exactly the way she's supposed to. And I'm still like, I don't know if I believe that she got a full 10-2 grip on the steering wheel here.
Yeah.
She's not my favorite. I think if you went back to when Pam Bondi got appointed or nominated or whatever it was, I was like, that's better than Matt Gaetz. And that was really where I was on the issue. I would, if Trump trusts her and thinks she's doing a good job, I'm not wasting any minutes, not an ounce of energy in my life, fretting over Pam Bondi. I trust Trump to know what he's doing. But as I said yesterday, it would just make my year if Ron DeSantis was able to finish his governorship in Florida, which ends in 2026, and then do the second half of the second term as the AG.
I've got renewed enthusiasm for Ron DeSantis lately. He's given some great talking points.
Yeah. We'll talk. I've got a couple of those. We'll talk a little bit more about those later. Convention of States. Anybody? We want to talk about that? I knew that this would be in your wheelhouse, Ryan.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break. Lawrence Jones coming on the Annie Fry show here. I'm not gonna say this to him because he'll be like he probably won't remember it. But the first time I met Lawrence Jones, he came in to I believe it was the Mark Cox show on Sunday nights, probably the year 2014 when Ferguson was going nuts. And he came in and joined Mark Cox's Sunday evening show, which Mark was so generous to let me sit in on for a couple of years. And he went down to Ferguson and reported from Ferguson and like got in the mix of it before he was Mr. Fox and Friends alongside Brian Kilmeade. Lawrence Jones joins us next. He, of course, is the co-host of Fox and Friends, and we're going to talk to him about Texas. He's a Texan. He knows. He'll report when we return.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
Home Shield Foundation Repairs, with an S.com is the website. Home Shield Foundation Repair, they are so diligent at making sure that when you go and make that phone call to 314-227-9636, 314-227-9636, you reach out to them and you say, here's my problem. They're going to come out and see your problem. They're going to assess your problem. And they are experts at making sure that they can use their cost-effective strategies to keep you from having to dig out all of that concrete and replace it. Because, boy, that gets pricey, doesn't it? Polyjacking is a polyurethane foam. It's injected under concrete to raise it up. There are other people who will put concrete under that, inject that to try to lift up and balance out. That's super heavy. This polyurethane foam is super light, but it has the strength of the concrete that needs to be injected in there to make sure that your concrete is level so that you don't have trip hazards. And I might add in here also, they do industrial and commercial properties as well. So if you're looking to make sure you don't have a trip hazard, which could end up being, of course, very costly in the future, you want to call Home Shield Foundation Repair. 314-227-9636, 314-227-9636, online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
At the Little Bit Foundation, their philosophy is simple. Remove barriers to learning and empower under-resourced students to success in the classroom and beyond. Little Bit currently serves 17,000 students in 54 schools in the St. Louis metro area, including many impacted by the recent tornado. Join Together Credit Union in supporting the Little Bit Foundation's mission by contributing to their back-to-school drive at all 14 local branch locations during the month of July. For more information about the Little Bit Foundation and how you can support their mission, visit thelittlebitfoundation.org.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
wrap my head around it. The alerts went out several hours in advance, but the rise in the level of water and how quickly that happened just really was unprecedented for this area, how quickly it happened in that alert and what those individuals had to do to get to safety and what those counselors and camp directors tried to do to get those girls to safety was absolutely unbelievable.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem speaking about the tragedy that we are continuing to watch unfold, the aftermath in Texas and Kirk County. This is a tough one for all of us to watch, to understand the developments. It's important, though, that we know, because we are going to be called upon to help in a real measurable way in the coming days and weeks. We need to know who we're helping and how important it is to do so. Let's speak to our next guest. Welcome to the show, Lawrence Jones, co-host of Fox and Friends at Lawrence B. Jones 3 on X. Lawrence, thank you for the time today. I understand that you are in Texas.
Yes, I am.
So talk to us. I know that you are a Texan, a very proud Texan, and we're very grateful for you to share a little bit of your time here with us on our show in St. Louis. What have you witnessed in your time there on the ground?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you. I wish it was on, better circumstances. I've witnessed unity in my home state. I don't expect anything less, but the people really showed up here. This is one in a generation, one in 100 years, actually, of a storm. We're talking about, within a 45-minute period, the Guadalupe raising 27 to 30 feet. And those young girls, they didn't have a shot. And, there's, all this politicization of, what should have happened, what technology. But sometimes things are just an act of God, and we learn from them, and we try to plan for future references on how we can save young girls and at camping. They didn't do anything wrong. This is a Christian organization that, if you're from Texas or the surrounding South, a lot of young boys and young girls go to these surrounding camps in hill country because of the strong foundation that they provide. And, a lot of people are wondering, asking God, why them? Why does this have to happen right now? But we know that on their way out, these young girls were singing hymns. We've learned from eyewitness accounts, and they knew their Lord and Savior. So, we continue to pray for my home state, that the healing takes place. There's still more victims that we still haven't been able to find just yet, just because of the terrain and dealing with some of the weather conditions. But we're hopeful that with all the first responders and volunteers there, that we can bring the family just a little bit of closure. Obviously, nothing will ever replace the lost children.
Yeah. I think about the storytellers right now, the people like you, Lawrence, who are going and inserting yourself back into your home state to tell the stories that are real. And because there's, of course, you do this every day with Fox and Friends. You're in the muck with the politics of the world. It's a pretty nasty place to be, but there are real stories that need to be told. And it's a tough job to go do what you're doing right now. What stories have you heard or witnessed that you think need to cut through all of that political noise that's taking place right now?
Oh, man. There's so much, so many different stories. Petty Officer Ruskin, who this is his first mission as a Coast Guardsman. And, he's rescued over 100 individuals there on the ground. You see the Navy SEALs that are on the ground volunteering, that are pulling bodies out of the rubble there. You hear the stories of the two young girls that were a part of Camp Mystic, and when they found their bodies, they were still holding hands. The co-owner of the facility who died trying to rescue those girls. I mean, this is truly the best of us. We got to cling to our faith right now because we know God has a plan. But, the stories out there, I mean, there's so many to list, the selfless acts of individuals. I've covered a lot of tragedies, especially these national disasters, even North Carolina. And I remember the residents saying, they had limited volunteers. Of course, you had Samaritan Purse, but they didn't see the federal government there. The state wasn't as organized. But in this situation, we've seen people from all across the country, even all across the state that showed up. You even have an official saying now, like, we have too many people there. Clear the roadway so we can do the job. So I'm grateful for my home state today, even in the midst of this tragedy.
It's from afar here in St. Louis, Missouri, watching this tragedy unfold, but seeing how the community is rallying around. I mean, people working and not sleeping, working and working and working. It's empowering to see that happen in the midst of such a tragedy. I know that Fox News has put together a donation link for people who want to be able to donate to a trusted place. What have you seen as far as charity and generosity locally, but also across the country? How can people help?
Oh, gosh, I'm telling you, the organizations have just overwhelmed the city. They've started to turn away all the resources such as, clothes and everything. I would say get a faith-based organization, get a known entity, whether it's the Cajun Navy, Samaritan Purse, obviously our Fox.org. We have a donation page that we're giving directly to organizations that are going to give resources to the victims there. HEB, which is one of our popular stores here, who showed up. I mean, I can go for days of the amount of resources that have shown up for Hill Country, and they're still moving. They're still going. They're still going through the rubble. And giving our first responders the resources and our four-legged heroes the resources that they need.
Yeah, it's so important. The link for the Fox donation we have here is go.fox/TX flood relief, and we're putting that up on our live stream as well, so people can feel connected to a place that they can trust to send their dollar. Last question. We know you have a lot to do and you got to run, but I do want to ask you a question that I've seen a lot of chatter surrounding this tragedy, this hitting this Christian camp. People are questioning the existence of God and what kind of God would do this. Are you sensing that sort of questioning on the ground there at the location in Texas? How is faith being affected in this moment?
We always ask God why. I mean, this is, even people that are strong in their faith wonder, God, why? But I would point them to those young girls, even some of them on their way to getting drug out by this supernatural storm, were singing hymns. They knew who God was, and they kept him close, and they accepted him into their life. I point to the young girls that even after they survived said that they want to come back to camp, even though in the midst of their grief. And so, yes, we do question God. We do question why did this have to happen. And I said this morning on Fox because, you get discouraged, you're covering these tragedies. There's just not numbers to you, especially when it's so close to home. We all know individuals that were impacted, families that are friends of the family that were impacted by this, and you question God. But all we have is our faith. All we have is our Jesus Christ to lean on in these moments. And so I think as a state, as a country, we're going to leave this situation stronger.
Lawrence Jones, amen. Amen to that. Thank you for going to do the reporting that you're doing and for sharing a little bit of your time here with us on 97.1 FM Talk. We're really grateful for it.
Thank you so much, my friend. You have a good one.
Stay safe. Bye-bye. Lawrence Jones, the co-host of Fox and Friends. Gosh, Ryan, I can't hardly talk about this story.
Yeah. I know that what we do means that we need to be on top of it. All weekend, I was doing the same thing. I did not want to look at the story because it's hard to handle.
I can't stand the details.
Every single one of those girls has a family. They have stories. There's not much more that you can say than exactly what Lawrence Jones just said.
Yeah. The other thing is that I can get particular watching people talk about it, and if it feels as though they're sensationalizing it, it's a big turnoff. And I've seen politicians put themselves in situations like this and feel like, my first question is, why are you there? Because in my mind, the politician is just there. A politician is always running a popularity contest.
Yeah.
And this is like not the time for that. But in true in true definition of what any sort of politician is supposed to do and be and who they serve are these people. Do they need to be there? I think they do. Do they need to be front and center speaking for the people? If they're good at it, if they understand how to use the attention, the spotlight that would come to them and immediately reflect it onto the cause, the people. If you show up and the spotlight descends on you and you bask in that light, I have a great sensitivity to that. And I certainly don't. I'm not a politician, but I am certainly someone who, in one essence or another, am working on popularity. Like, if you don't listen to the show, then you won't hear me for very long. That's the way it goes. But these are incredibly difficult stories. I mean, these are, what'd they say, 8, 9-year-old girls?
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn's 9. I can't, like, the second I go there, I have to actively change my focus, like count to 10 or something, to get out of the thoughts that come into my head next.
This isn't the first time we've ever seen a tragedy happen. My kids are going to camp next week, though. And it wasn't until I had kids and that I could put them in those situations that I began to not be able to really handle these kind of stories. You know, it's weird. I know these things hit you even harder just from knowing you. And I'm not trying to put the spotlight back on you. This weekend I was thinking about you because that's something that I thought you, my wife, people in my life that I know really absorb these kinds of things. And I was like, if I can't even handle it, I can't imagine what, gosh, I mean, the whole country's going through this. The whole country is watching this and feeling what we're talking about right now.
I actually think about, this reminds me of the Friends episode where Phoebe is trying to do a completely selfless act. And she does something selfless, but then she feels good about it. And she's like, well, now it's not selfless. But when the burdensome despair that I feel when I think about my kid being involved in something like that feels wrong to even allow myself to feel the despair that I'm imagining, because there are people who are really experiencing this right now.
I get it.
It's like I could come onto the show here and I can talk about, I'm a mom. Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, in the essence of what we're talking about with these families who are experiencing what they're experiencing, I don't want anybody's empathy because I'm having a bad thought. And I'll feel a level of guilt for even, like, I'm going to tell you this quick story, and then we're going to go to break. I was at a baseball game last night, and the weather last night was pristine. It was perfect. It was probably 86 degrees. I should have looked. Perfect temperature.
It's too warm.
Well, it was my perfect, not your perfect. I'm sitting at the baseball game. My husband's coaching. It's a league in the Metro East. It's called MERBL. It's Metro East Recreational Baseball League. High school players. There are people who play on very highly competitive baseball teams during the school year with their school that do really well, that want to just play baseball in the summer. But they're also on the team potentially with what you would consider rec ball players. But it's just about baseball fun. It's not this travel ball craziness, and I'll do another show at another day about that. But my husband's coaching this team, and he's out there, and it's low to no pressure. My son's catching. The boys are having fun. Kids who don't normally succeed are having some success. Kids that maybe do regularly have success are maybe getting out, and people are patting them on the back and telling them it's okay. It's just like the world in that moment felt really right and good. I posted a picture of Molly bringing me a bunch of flowers. You can look at the picture and assess the flower situation that she picked from the grass. And I felt like I want to take a picture of this moment because this is a perfect moment. There's nothing special about it. It's just a moment. And all I could do is sit there and think about this. There's going to be a moment in my life at some point in the future where everything feels upside down from this. And when you're having those upside down moments, other people are experiencing a perfect moment. It's just important to be kind and to be calm in all of them, because you don't ever understand what somebody's going through. And when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about I'm there with my family and I'm just enjoying it, that simultaneously a despair that I can't even fit into my head. And once it starts to creep in, I have to stop it because I feel like it's consuming, that's going on somewhere else. The only thing that compensates for that is a peace that we can't muster ourselves. And the encouragement that I have for anybody who's listening right now who prays, don't tell people you're going to pray for them. Instead of saying, you'll be in my prayers, say a prayer for them, text them a prayer, send a prayer, pray with them. It can be 2 sentences. Lord, have mercy, grant me peace, grant them peace. Send the prayer. Don't send the intention to pray. Take it a step further and be active. Let's take a quick break. Let's go.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group will be located right there online at retirementkey.com. You want to plan for this retirement phase. I was reading an article this morning about how, it was like Gen X should plan for retirement. It's different than boomers. One of the thing was don't plan to not work. Don't think that life ends at 65. And I thought to myself, you know what? If you could get paid a little money to do something you enjoy part-time, why wouldn't you do that? Maybe that's your plan. Maybe you dream of being a bus driver or something. Maybe you dream of volunteering. Whatever it is, how does that work into your ultimate ability to pay your bills and live your life the way you want to in your retirement years? You need to call people who can help make sure that whatever your intention is achievable realistically, and you know how you're going to get there. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494 to make an appointment that costs you nothing to hear how the Retirement Advisory Group can make sure your retirement is worry-free. RetirementKey.com.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service. You know your trees can't talk, but if they could, they'd be calling me. From trimming to treatments, we'll make your trees the healthiest and happiest on the block. Call us before your trees start giving you the silent treatment. Check us out at hansenstree.com.
Did you know that 60% of adults over 20 avoid going to the dentist due to deep fear of dental treatment? Knowing that many of our chronic health problems can be directly related to the harmful bacteria in our mouth, not going to the dentist can be very dangerous. Hi, this is Dr. Michael White. I've been helping the dental anxiety patient for over 20 years with anxiety-free sedation. This is very effective and very affordable. Call my office at 314-270-8552. That's 314-270-8552.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Just a reminder, we're giving away Collective Soul tickets in the 1 o'clock hour today, so stay tuned, and we'll give you a little bit of a heads up if we can. When we, well, I'll give you a heads up right now. You're listening for a Collective Soul song. When you hear that, be the 17th caller. You'll win tickets to see them on the 17th. It is 12:38 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The YouTube live chat poll for today, which I don't know. Did you mention it? You didn't mention it.
Not
yet.
in that time check, I didn't.
I wasn't listening.
I was talking about the Collective Soul tickets.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
You really weren't listening.
No.
That's okay.
I was talking to people on the Annie Fry Show YouTube chat who are questioning the existence of God.
That's more important. However, Collective Soul is a Christian band. No, they're not. They were kind of Christian.
I was gonna say, are they?
They're not really. Apparently, they were raised in a home where the dad was a pastor, and so they have a lot of Christian themes in their music. But they say we're not a Christian band. FYI,
They're Christians in a band.
They're Christians in a band,
which I appreciate.
Yeah.
NF is a rapper who sounds a lot like Eminem, and he does not want to be called a Christian rapper, but he has songs that make sense to Christians. I'll put it that way. The YouTube poll for today, there's this, anytime I hear people warning me of things that are taking place and they're kind of, like taking place behind the scenes in Washington, D.C., and I haven't really seen any evidence of it. It's not like there's a comment that was made that at least made it across my desk. It just, it feels contrived to me. But Charlie Kirk was the first person I saw who said it, and I think Charlie Kirk is amazing. Part of the reason we won. I will predict right now that Charlie Kirk will run for president one day. Probably sooner than you think. He's not 35, so I don't know that it's going to happen yet. But I think that he will have so much experience in politics, and his policy is spot on to me. His efforts to go to college campuses and face anybody at any time on any issue and have a conversation that is not combative, he wins people over everywhere he goes.
I'll say this. That dude will be battle tested if he ever runs.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like the kind of in a Trumpian way, like unafraid to go to the mat, but he also feels resolved in what it is that he stands for. He stands on principle first. And that's the most important thing. And I completely think that Donald Trump himself stands on principle. I know that those who think he's the great Satan think that that's a crazy statement. But I've told this analogy before, and I'll tell it again. I learned it once from a very kind woman who was a career coach that I had met with. And she said, when you hold up a ketchup bottle between you and another person and you say, describe what you see, if you were both to describe what you see to a third party who couldn't see anything that you saw, if I had a ketchup bottle in between Ryan and myself, Ryan might describe the front of the label and the fact that it's got, a nice graphic of the fresh-looking tomatoes that are in the ketchup and the logo and established, 1917, so you can tell that this is a long-time successful brand and recipe. And on the back, I'm telling you nutritional data and, chemical names that I can't pronounce that are ingredients in this thing, and it's just a very different way of describing what you see, but in fact, you're looking at the same ketchup bottle. Guess what? Both people are right. Guess what? Both people would have to listen to the other side in order to get the full perspective of what it is that we're looking at. The immigration issue is obviously a hot button one. It's also probably the border. Wouldn't you say the border is the number one issue that Trump ran on that had such a high, like the percentage of people who were like, yes, do something about this.
It continues to unite everybody who voted for Trump.
So there's no reason for Donald Trump to be like, I don't know, we should maybe back off. That's not, you weren't sent there to back off. You were sent there to put your pedal to the metal and to do what you said you were going to do, which is ultimately to secure the border, but then also he said he was going to deport people who are here illegally. Charlie Kirk is flagging people, is flagging our attention, the American people's attention, saying he's hearing that people are trying to push an amnesty bill in front of President Trump, an amnesty action where there's some sort of pathway to a legal status. I don't think it says citizenship. No Republican in their right mind would ever even utter those words. But while we're rounding up the worst of the worst, and the Democrats are traveling to third world countries to defend them. This is just the wildest turn in this ride so far, where they're like, we're going to go defend Coles, Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia, Mr. Plaid button-up shirt, Kansas City. They had to be like, oh, come on. The Chiefs championship hat he's wearing in the Ecuadorian. They're like sipping champagne flutes of water or something like that, and he's wearing a Chiefs championship hat. Okay. I think you went a little too far on this one. That's what the left is defending here. So I feel like the territory that the Republicans need to defend on principle of what they said they were going to do if they got elected. You can be like, no, we're not doing that, and then you're pretty good. There's suggestions out there that amnesty of some kind is being pushed. The YouTube poll for today is, how should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? The first one is deport all illegal immigrants. The second one is legal status for some workers. Now, I have a character limit on what I can put in these options here. So obviously in that second option, there are people who are working here. It's if I say legal status for non-criminals, I know every single one of you is going to be like, they were criminals when they crossed the border illegal. And I agree with that. So I didn't want to have that fight because we agree, and we'd be fighting over something that we agree. I would just have to explain myself. And here, now that I've done that, I'm not going to do it again. I think we all understand when I say legal status for some workers, the kind of people that we're talking about. And then the last option is pathway to citizenship. I don't know that the Trump administration is unsure of how his electorate feels. But I thought, let's put some numbers on it and see how you feel. Because it's possible that in the midst of watching close to 6 months here of border security and deportations, it's possible that some of you have softened on this and may think, you know, I don't want to give citizenship to these people, but we should be providing them legal status so they can stay here and work and pay their taxes and contribute. You got to let us know. I'll be very curious to see at the end of the show where you sit on the president's commitment to secure the border and deport those who are here illegally. That's what he said he was going to do. So anybody who's looking at this right now going, oh, I can't believe this is happening. I don't know where you've been for the past 10 years because he's been on this the same the whole time. YouTube.com/@AnnieFry, Frey. And you can go vote in that poll. Leave a comment, too. We'll feature some of those as well. Wiggins American next. What do you got?
Oh, this is going to be good. How to control your dreams. How to realize when you're in a dream that you're dreaming and take control of it.
First question. Have you ever done this?
Yes. Well, I don't know that I've done it through training, but I have done it.
All right. The Dream Shaman, Ryan Wiggins, when we come back. Don't go away.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I don't think Annie knew this when she was talking about the ketchup bottle a minute ago, but I'm talking about the barbecue sauce bottle now for Andrea's. I had planned on doing this. Yes, thank you very much. But I do just look at the front. I look at the front of the label because as you probably know, I'm not usually a health guy, and I just want the best tasting everything. And I've said before, Andrea's barbecue sauce, the best tasting barbecue sauce you're going to find. It's my favorite. It's a little bit spicy. I love that. So just recently, I went on a diet, though. I'm trying to cut out sugars because of the whole diabetic stuff. And I thought, oh, shoot, now I'm going to have to use a different barbecue sauce. I'm going to have to use one of those that you buy that's like in the health section of the store. And I turned the label around on the Andrea's sauce, 0 added sugars. And I'm like, this is great. This is writing my advertisements for me because it's both healthy and the best taste that you're going to get. I love it. I don't talk about their barbecue sauce enough because their steak sauce is so famous. So definitely get a bottle of their steak sauce, get a bottle of their salad dressing while you're at it, but check out the barbecue sauce. It's the newest one. It's only been around for a couple years, and you can get it at area grocery stores. Deerberg Schnucks usually have all 3 of them, but you can always get all of them at the restaurant. That's where I get them, at Andreas.com.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
St. Louis Public Library is here to help the community recover. Every Monday in July, join SLPL at DeVol Library, 4234 North Grand Boulevard from 4 to 6 p.m. For community rebuilding events, these outside events offer free resources and supplies to St. Louis neighbors, including food distribution, diapers and period products, legal aid, crisis counseling, and more. For more information, visit slpl.org.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tuesday afternoon, the very latest on the devastating Texas floods, plus Charles Lipson from the University of Chicago.
The Mark Reardon Show, weekdays from 3 to 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
In the back, sweet singers in the front, cruising down the freeway in the hot, hot sun.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! All right, lucid dreaming. Has anybody ever done this before?
Define lucid dreaming for those listening who may not understand what you're talking about.
Glad you asked. Lucid dreaming happens when you become aware that you're dreaming while still asleep, so you know that you're in a dream. This also allows you to begin to control or influence the dream.
I do this. I lucid dream, but as soon as I am aware, okay, this is a dream, and I want to start putting my hands on the steering wheel, I wake up.
Okay. So you never really control it.
I don't think I mean, maybe there's nothing that sticks out in my brain that makes me go, oh, I dreamt that one time, and I was flying all over the world doing all these cool things. Like, I've never, that I can remember.
Have you guys done it, Brad, Ethan?
I like Annie, I usually wake up when I realize that it's a dream. It just, whatever reason, I just pop right out of it, and I'm awake.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this. I think that I'm
Do you dream?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah, most of them.
I will later in the day, maybe later in the morning. The thing I remember the most is an emotion or a feeling that was very heavy in that dream. Like, you'll get halfway through the day and you'll be like, oh, wait, I'm not mad at that person. That wasn't real. Oh, whew. Maybe it's something that was really happy and exciting. Like, oh, man, that didn't happen.
You ever have it to where you're like, you're feeling it kind of like through the first part of the day where you're like, I know that wasn't real, but like, that really got me.
Yeah.
It's almost like that alternative reality where like, man, if that was real, then like, that'd be terrible.
Spouses are often
It's usually your spouse.
at the other end of that.
And it's usually not something pleasant. You're usually mad at them.
Or if you have dreams where it was like, it was a good dream, it was a happy dream, you did something cool, it's like you don't remember that.
I think I've had.
Unfortunately.
Have you guys had dreams about the show? I have.
I have dreams
Mm-hmm.
regularly about coming in to do the show and you guys aren't here and I have to do the whole thing by myself and nothing works.
You think that's bad? I've had dreams that I've had to host this show by myself and found out minutes before.
I
Like, all right,
told
go.
you. I want to know in the YouTube chat, folks, if you would like to hear Ethan host a Danny Fry show.
Oh God!
I've asked him and he panicked just when I asked him. But I think that we should have the Manny Fry show just once, hosted by Ethan, and you guys can hold the safety net, but let him do it.
You know that quote from
You sit
Batman
here.
where Alfred Pennyworth says, "Some people just want to watch the world burn." That's what's happening right now.
I'm going to take off and just sit at home and listen to the show. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to watch that.
How about in like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you just take over the Friday.
Oh my God!
The last Friday of the
July.
month. Yeah, I'll be gone for a Friday and a Monday. Got to go somewhere with my son. Make it happen.
This all started with me bringing up a worse nightmare, and now what is happening is you guys literally saying, "Hey, let's make that happen." That's what's happening right now.
It's important you know we're here for you.
Ethan, wake up. Ethan, wake up.
Yeah, this is a dream, dude. This is not real.
Oh, thank God, because that would be terrible.
I don't even like the idea that we're here. I like Ethan coming in and realizing, oh, nobody's here.
No, like
1 minute.
Running
like
the board.
sitting in Annie's seat and being like, "Go, talk."
You don't have, and if you did it, audience react on the YouTube chat. If Ethan took the reins, just one Friday show, while the rest of the boys were here, he doesn't have to like dig in depth to the big beautiful bill on a Friday. No,
He doesn't have to, but it would be good if he did. Because how else would we know?
just fake it like
What
Ryan
if I
does.
just started reading like a Fox News article? Like that's my own
That's what
opinion.
Ryan does.
Yeah.
Aw.
Don't give away my secrets.
Lucid dreams.
I'm not going to get into the ways to control them because we can maybe do that some other time. But here are the things you can control in a lucid dream if you start to get good at it. One is the dream environment itself. So you walk into the studio, Ethan, and you see that nobody's here. You could, if you got good enough, change it into walking into the Cardinals Stadium.
Really?
You
The
could
YouTube
just
chat
change the
is
environment.
pumped for Ethan Friday.
Oh, man. That's going to be great.
Ethan's blurfs on Friday.
Yeah, Irfin's
For
blurs.
Irfin's blurs for 3 hours.
Interactions with dream characters. You may engage with and influence the behavior of the other characters in the dream. And then finally, your actions, of course. You might decide what to do in the dream, such as, like you were just saying, flying, walking through walls, or summoning objects. People have been able to figure out how to control this in dreams. That just sounds like fun.
It does.
I do remember a lucid dream that I had.
Uh-oh. 2 o'clock?
Yeah. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
But this one's like, it's kind of emotional.
And we can get back to some of these because there's a bunch of ways you can do this, even as a novice, to try to make yourself lucid dream.
This is a lucid dream that I had about a family member that passed away that I don't think I've ever told my family.
Ooh.
I kind of wonder if it was real. Like a Joseph, like I was visited in my dreams type of a thing.
Ooh.
Jim Carafano next. Don't go away.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. The Bagel Loan's a mortgage that you get and you pay no closing costs. $0 in closing costs. How do I know? Well, 2-time customer here. of the bagel loan as a refinance on my home. I lowered my rate twice. Once in, I think it was 2019. And then I did it again in 2020 because, as you recall, rates continued to go down. I was able to get my rate down in the 2s somewhere, and now I have this wonderful mortgage rate because I have the best mortgage guy in town, and Stewie reminds me of that, and he is correct when he does. If you want to talk to Stewie about your next mortgage, rates are ticking down a little bit. It's important that you call Stewie at 314-324-4440. And tell them what you're trying to do. We're trying to buy a house. We're probably going to look to buy a house in the next 6 months or so. What should we do? He'll guide you. If you're looking to refinance your house because you bought one in the last 2 years and the rates were like 8 or something crazy, save money, refinance at no closing costs. Google the bagel loan for more information, and MLS number 226715.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the first ever Brendan Donovan Charity Clay Shoot happening Thursday, August 7th at Strathalbyn Farms Club in Weldon Spring. Join Cardinals standout Brendan Donovan, teammates, and local celebs for a day of clay shooting and community, all to benefit Team Red, White, and Blue and their mission to support veterans' health and wellness. Don't wait. Sponsorships and shooter spots are going fast. Visit teamrwb.org/Donovan now to sign up. Show your support and make a difference for those who've served. 97.1 FM Talk, backing our veterans every step of the way.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A fifth day of searching. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. After Friday's flash floods in central Texas, at least 109 confirmed dead.
In hard-hit Kerr County, thousands of emergency crews and volunteers from across the nation continue looking for a miracle along the Guadalupe River.
It's extremely treacherous, time-consuming. It's dirty work, having to go layer by layer, peeling these off to make those recoveries.
Texas Game Warden Lieutenant Colonel Ben Baker, 87 confirmed deaths in Kerr County alone, including at least 30 children. We're told 26 river miles have been searched with 444 rescues. At Camp Mystic, 5 children and 1 camp counselor are still missing, as forecasters expect a break in rain to assist in the massive emergency operation in flood-ravaged Texas Hill Country.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. President Trump commending federal efforts to support the Texas-led operations during a cabinet meeting where he also just confirmed he'll meet again today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been holding meetings on Capitol Hill after a White House dinner last night as work continues on a Gaza ceasefire deal. Netanyahu telling reporters,
"We're working on it diligently as we speak. In fact, on the way over here and on the way from here, we're not going to let up. We have a goal. We intend to achieve that goal."
The Prime Minister also offering Israel's condolences to the families grieving in Texas. Ukraine's President Zelensky just announcing he's ordered expanded contacts with the U.S. to ensure critical deliveries of military supplies. A day after President Trump said the U.S. would send more weapons to Ukraine. The president telling reporters today Russia's President Putin is killing a lot of people.
A lot of them are his soldiers and their soldiers, mostly. And it's now up to 7,000 a week. And I'm not happy with Putin.
Also confirming he is considering more sanctions on Russia. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Going to be some rumbles scattered around as we go through the afternoon. At prime time for thunderstorms now until about 8 p.m. A couple of these things could go strong to severe, so let's pay attention. 92 for the high. Tonight, couple of thunderstorms this evening, fading away, 73. Wednesday, partly sunny, couple of storms here and there, near 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you need a new air conditioner installed this summer, call a company you can trust to install your AC properly. That will get your home cool and comfortable fast. For a free estimate on a new air conditioner, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
We have scheduled Iran talks, and they want to talk. They took a big drubbing. I think when we hit the three sites, really, they want to meet. They want to meet. They want to work something out. No, they're different. They're very different now than they were 2 weeks ago. They were the bully of the Middle East, and now they're not the bully anymore.
President Trump on Iran after, of course, a successful strike against the nuclear facilities. These were comments he made yesterday while he was sitting at a table right across from Bibi Netanyahu. Let's get to our friend Jim Carafano, who I don't think we've talked to since the strikes in Iran. He's a senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July Independence Day weekend. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, so we should start with go through the list of all the things that made Iran a power broker in the region and a threat. The surrogates. Okay, you know, the Houthis, the Hamas, all of them whacked. The oil revenue, most of it cut off. The death from a barrage of missiles. Well, they expended more than 50% of their inventory. They lost most of their launcher capability. The backing of Russia and China. Okay, that proved it to be a joke. And global terrorism. Well, you know, Trump's been quietly plinking Al-Qaeda and ISIS guys for months. And so literally, and the nuclear program, which has now been set back who knows how long. Everything that made Iran powerful and a factor in 6 months has basically been taken off the table. It's like if everybody on the I don't even know a good baseball team these days. Like everybody on the Red Sox, the entire lineup, you know, came down with strep throat before the World Series. You know, they're toast.
Was Iran as strong? I mean, as dangerous, I guess is maybe the right word. Were they as big of a threat as they positioned themselves to be perceived?
Absolutely. But, you know, it's like a Jenga puzzle, right? Which is actually, when all the pieces are in place, it's actually a very stable structure. But when you take all the pieces out of place, it tumbles like a house of cards. So all those things together made Iran a difficult country to go after. But when you remove them off from the table, it really makes Iran almost a non-factor in the region for, it could be years to come.
Yesterday, Netanyahu handed across the dinner table to President Trump his nomination for him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, we've seen some people be awarded that prize, and it's kind of a head-scratcher. Does that mean anything in 2025 to you?
No, absolutely not. I think it's a joke. It's a highly politicized joke. I think we all get the joke. I'm sure Trump, I don't know if he'd be happy to. You know, he said the other day, the thing that matters to me is that the people that voted for me think I'm doing a good job. And I think that's absolutely true. It's a one-day news thing. If they give him the Nobel Peace Prize, it'll be 1 day of news, and then we'll move on. Most of the world hates Donald Trump, which is shocking if you think about it, because of all the good things that he has done, not just for the United States, but for friends and allies, and all the example that he has set for other leaders. But you have failed institutions all over the world, which are just vicious to hold on to their place, and they'll attack Trump at any cost. You have a global media that just regurgitates this negativity over and over again. And then you have an administration which is so busy doing things that they really don't take time out to really convince and explain to the rest of the world why what they're doing is good. And the Nobel Peace Prize is not going to change that.
Right.
So I don't care. The Pakistanis is completely cynical. The only reason why the Pakistanis nominated him was to annoy the Indians. It was a completely cynical joke. I'm sure the Israeli nomination is quite sincere, because Trump has done more to bring, the future to the Middle East than anybody. And that is truly, if there is a reason to give somebody a Peace Prize, that is truly noteworthy and notable. So good for them for that. But does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter at all.
Over the weekend, certainly leading into the 4th of July, we were anticipating the passage of the big, beautiful bill, and the president got to sign it on the 4th of July like he had committed to. Right in the midst of that, maybe right before it, we were told that we were going to pull back on supplying Ukraine with what they needed. And then I believe it was today or maybe yesterday, we find out, okay, we're back in business. Can you tell me what's going on there?
Fuck no. Oh, wait.
Yeah, go on.
completely bleep that out.
Yeah.
I have no
we got you.
idea.
We got you covered. Apologies.
Yes,
for that.
I have no idea what's going on. Here's what I will say. I always said, in the end, the U.S. will support Ukraine because it's in America's interest. And if there's one thing that Donald Trump does, it is he puts America's interest first. And so I never doubted for a second that the U.S. would support Ukraine. But why what happened, I don't know.
It's a head scratcher for you?
It is. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things, and I don't know who to believe and what ground truth is. But in the end of the day, I paid no attention to it. Because in the end of the day, I believe that Donald Trump was going to stand up for Ukraine because it was in America's interest to do so in a smart way, and he gets that.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation. We got you covered.
Banned by the FCC.
We got you covered. There's a button, and we got you covered. Apologize if we didn't, but I'm pretty sure we did. I do like the sincerity though of the response. I feel like I really got the honest reaction there from Jim Carafano.
Well, that's true.
I want to know your thoughts on the thumbprint on history. It's going to be easier to measure down the road, of course, when Donald Trump is just a part of the history books. But it seems as though he's taking a full-on aggressive reshaping mentality towards how America interacts with the world, what we stand for, what we care about, what we don't care about. Is he changing? I mean, how big is his impact on the course of history right now?
I do think it's transformative, and in two ways. In all sincerity, I'll joking and embarrassments aside. One is, we have meandered through the world since the end of the Cold War, trying to find our direction and our focus, not just what's good for America, what is America's place in the world. And I think because we have a president who has been president and then had time to think about it and then come back and is sincere in his love of America, gets it, understands it, is actually a very good global strategist. So he is, I think, bringing a direction to American foreign policy that we have been trying to figure out for decades. The second thing is I think, and again, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I don't have a dog in the fight, I swear. The Biden administration did enormous damage to America's prestige, our economic prosperity, and our security in the world. And Trump is bound and determined to fix that. And I think he will be remembered for both of those things.
He's been direct and harsh in his reactions to Vladimir Putin, of course. When the conflict was escalating with Iran, Donald Trump told the story that Putin called and was like, "Hey, do you need any help? I can offer you help." And he said, "I need help with you." And then today at the cabinet meeting, he reiterated his dissatisfaction and frustration with Vladimir Putin. Where do you see that relationship going and impacting the war that Russia is inflicting on Ukraine?
South. Look, this is not the Vladimir Putin that Trump knew in his first term. The Vladimir Putin that Trump dealt with in his first term was smart enough to get out of the way and not poke Donald Trump. The Putin we have now has made massive strategic errors, and he is in too deep. And so this is not the same guy. This isn't the guy that can just back off and wait another day, because he is way overcommitted himself. It's like, in The Godfather Part 1, everything is talk until you try to kill the Don, and then you've crossed the Rubicon. Well, once they killed Luca Brasi, they crossed the line, and that I think is Putin has crossed the line that he can't return from, and so Trump just can't go to him like he did 4 years ago and just say, "Dude, back off," and I think that was the hope, but Trump is Trump tests propositions, and if he thinks he can settle a problem in a way, he tries it. And then it's that's not going to work. Putin, Putin may just step up one day and make a deal, because honestly, it's a smart play, but he may not. And what he has done, and he has absolutely teed off the president of the United States, and we've seen how that ends again and again. And the answer is not well.
Yes.
For some people.
Jim Carafano speaking with us right now. The last subject I want to talk to you about here real quick before we let you go is something that you and I spoke about every week under the Biden administration, which was the border on our own country and the immigration into our country. And it's the big stories of our foreign policy interactions, and of course striking nuclear facilities in Iran. Those are huge, huge stories. But on the home front, this administration has stayed the course. How do you feel about the commitment to deport those people who are here illegally, and what advice do you want the administration to take on how they should continue?
Well, look, I think what they're doing is exactly right. And I know there'll be a time to talk about temporary worker programs and reforming the current system, and I think that'll be after the midterm. I mean, if the U.S. if the Republicans do well in the midterm, they hold the House, they hold the Senate, Trump has proven he can control the border, then we can start to talk about temporary worker programs and legal migration on ways to kind of get employers the employees they need when they need them to keep the economy growing. But that, I think we are still down the road from that. And in the meantime, we need to keep doing what we're doing. And, it's not just about immigration and border security. Every day the left attacks Trump for doing what most Americans want and is clearly in the interests of the United States of America. We are rewriting the political balance in this country.
Is there any sort of people will say amnesty, and usually when it's used, it's not really in a positive connotation. Is there any sort of residency establishment that you think should be offered people who did come here illegally?
I think the only fair and responsible thing, either if you want to participate in a temporary worker program or if you'd like to come to the United States legally and you're here unlawfully, is that you must leave, go to your home country, and apply to come back in a regular way. Now, if people want to set up a system where it says, I trust this person, it's a good person, they should maybe get, they move, they're ahead of the line because this is somebody that we know is good and we want them back, that's fine. But I think people should have to leave.
Yeah. Okay.
And come back get in line, and come back. I just think that's fair.
Well, Jim, it's good to have you back. You came in like a wrecking ball. We're always glad to have you here. We got Tuesday next week cleared for you.
Yeah. No, I'm here like for another month and a half. So there you go.
We're grateful for you, Jim. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for being so tolerant. Bye-bye.
No problem. Yeah. Hopefully the FCC is as well. Just kidding. We got it. Brad was on it. If you get on YouTube, you get the unfiltered version of the show. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins will be back in studio. We will kind of pick up from there on our YouTube live chat poll. How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Do you want them to deport all illegal immigrants? Now, I will add to that option there what we just heard from Jim Carafano. If you deport people who are here illegally, that doesn't mean that you're initially saying in sum total, you can never come back. Do you want to see if you're here illegally, you have to go away? You can come back maybe, depending on the circumstances, but if you're here illegally, you must be deported. The second option is legal status for some workers or pathway to citizenship. Can't wait to see how much that one pulls in today on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Let's talk about it when we come back. Leave your comments. We'll be right back.
With your love, nobody can drag me down.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
CiviaLaw.com, your free strategy session. When I open the microphone and start telling you about how my husband and I sat down with Civia Law, we went to his Edwardsville location, but he's got 7 locations across Illinois and Missouri. We sat down with him in his office there in Edwardsville, and we talked about our trust. Got asked all sorts of questions, different types of life circumstances that could come up. Do you have in-laws? Do you have outlaws? Those types of things. If one of us goes first, then what happens? If we both go at the same time, God forbid, then what happens? These are questions that are not fun to talk about, but they are really not fun to deal with when you haven't talked about it and prepared for it. What happens if another child enters the picture? Those are some happy situations, new marriage, so on and so forth. Your trust is in great hands when you partner with the very best at Todd Civia Law, CiviaLaw.com. Now, if you are the first 10 people to call right now, they're going to start the clock and take the tick here, 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. You're the first 10 callers, one of the first 10 callers. You get your strategy session, your sit-down initial conversation where you get to say, yes, I love these people. Let's do this. You get that free. But you got to call right now to get in line. You can make the appointment in a month, 2 months, whatever. You got to call now to get it free. 833-995-WILL, online at CiviaLaw.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Ethan's got it for the Jonas Brothers and Justin Bieber. You just know. I love it. I just like that Ethan picks it. When he hosts on that one Friday, it's going to be all Jonas Brothers and Bieber. The 97.1 audience is going to flock to that day.
There's nothing we can do about it.
I love that music. I love it. I'm happy that I permitted myself to let go of picking the music because it takes a lot of time to be super specific about it. But he plays music that is young, and I'm like, that's a good song.
He's not much of a fan of the Jonas Brothers. I am. I didn't even know that was the Jonas Brothers.
I looked over there, and it says Nick Jonas. I don't know if it's Jonas Brothers, but it is a Jonas brother.
Oh, okay. Is Nick the cute one? Or is he the bad boy?
That's what Ethan always says. I don't know.
Ethan just let us know. Ethan's probably going to say the cute one to all of them, though.
YouTube live chat poll for today on the Andy Fry YouTube channel. How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Word on X, which means pretty much nothing these days, is that Charlie Kirk has put this out there. I saw Steve Bannon kind of talking about it, that they're trying to work in an amnesty bill. This feels I'm having flashbacks to all of the other presidents, all the other Republicans we've elected over time who say, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and they get there like, how about we do that?
Yeah.
And you're going, what? I don't think Trump's that guy.
I don't either. And the minute I told Brad this morning because we were talking about Charlie Kirk posting about this. The minute he posted about it, I said, okay, not sure whether that was true or not, but if it is, it definitely is going to happen now because with all the blowback that he would get from the core of the base
they
on
know
his key
so
issue.
much. The Trump administration and the Trump campaign know so much about social media, and they know how to, I would assume, let people in. You give somebody a little lead on something, and you can prove a point. Like, I would assume that the outrage of some people right now on amnesty, I didn't even think we were allowed to say that word in this country anymore, that the outrage is just so that you can be in the next meeting and the cabinet secretaries and President Trump side-eye whoever this is, fill in the blank here and be like, see, no, we're not doing that. And then it never becomes a thing because they've scooped the interest in the story. But the question remains, how should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Without answering the question specifically, separate question for you, Ryan. Is there any sort of emotional sentiment you have that you've experienced watching this happen where you hear a story and you kind of wince and you're like, oh, God, I don't love that?
I'm glad you asked that question because, yes, that does happen. That should happen. The problem is that you have these factions of people on the left, and some of them are part of that, however many percent, 25%, who are just, they really are deranged Trump haters. It doesn't matter the issue. They don't even really have any deeper thought than did Trump do it? Oh, then I hate it. But that's not every Democrat. What drives me crazy is the Democrats who will bring those issues up and say, are you heartless? The answer is no, I'm not heartless, but where have you been for the last 4 years in allowing this problem to fester and grow into this massive problem that our country has to deal with now? And now you have a heart, and now you want to tell everybody else that they have to have a heart. That's what drives me crazy, is that the people who cause this problem are the ones who usually bring that question up. And I don't feel obligated to answer it when they're the ones bringing it up.
I struggle deeply with there are people in my life who I love dearly. I don't know that they love me dearly anymore. I mean, if you're on this side of the aisle, just by virtue of your location on the wrong side of the aisle, you're evil to them.
Yeah.
And I know there are people who feel that way about me. I know there are people who feel that way about me who've never said it to me, but have said it to other people. I don't think I'm a heartless person. I really want to create a system where people who have come here illegally but have contributed while they're here, have been outside of the illegal entry good stewards. I was going to say good citizens, but they're not citizens. Good stewards of their time. They've paid the taxes. They've complied. They're good people. And they, in many cases, by our own negligent government, were invited to come here. I put a lot of the responsibility on the leadership of this country for, they're the ones who are the bad people in that situation. It's not the fact that you came here and you came here outside of a system. I don't think that inherently makes you a bad person. It's kind of a judge lest ye be judged scenario in my mind. But the country can't sustain this. And I don't know how you really start picking and choosing. How bad do you have to be to stay here? I've said this before, what I would like to see is a system set up to address people kind of in lieu of what Jim Carafano was saying there, or maybe there are sponsorships that are set up where if you can have sponsorships in good standing who can vouch for you, that you can get back in a line to come back in the country. But I also don't think that that a single one of them should enter before somebody who tried to do it legally did. If it takes years to do the system the right way, maybe we need to consider, is that the appropriate amount of time? Because maybe it is. Can that be expedited? I do know that we were managing people's retirements in a cave somewhere with paper. So the possibility exists that we are not efficient in the way that we bring people into this country. Can we make it in a more efficient system without degrading the quality of the vetting of people who come into this country? And, I could potentially even say there could be an expedited process for people to leave, to apply for a status to come back in. But if you want some sort of expedited process, there's the understanding that you will never be able to be a citizen. So you get to come back, but you'll never be a citizen. One thing that I think needs to be addressed here more than others is how we count people in our census and allocate the people's voice in our federal government. Because when we're counting all of these people who are here but not in a legal situation, are they taking from the government? In some cases, but maybe not all, but in many cases, yes. We need to redraw that relationship. Because the reason to deport people who are here illegally is to reestablish the voice of the citizens of this country to be reflective in its federal government and not manipulated by a party that says, to hell with it, everybody come in here, we'll send you to the appropriate places, and we will reap the benefits of being able to have a higher volume voice in our federal government, and therefore tip the scales of control of this country for the future. And then you turn into a socialist country, which is ironically what a lot of these people are fleeing from. It's not like any of this is actually for the betterment of those people. Give me a break. Let's take a quick break here, super quick break. Ryan Schmelz is going to be back with us. We are going to get a recap of the big, beautiful bill now that's done. What's next for Congress? And also, Ryan Schmelz has a personal connection to the tragedy in Texas, and we're going to talk to him about that as well. You don't want to miss it. Ryan Schmelz, the Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent on The Annie Frey Show next.
This is The Annie Frey Show.
TheDiamondShop.net, that's the website. Shopping this July for something special for yourself, for a loved one. A reminder, 6 months, same as cash financing at the Diamond Shop, which means if you're looking for something to be paid for by Christmas, we're almost there, folks, you can start that shopping process right now, and they're gonna love getting to know you, because getting to know you and understanding and respecting whatever your budget is when you walk into the Diamond Shop, your budget could be in the tens. It could be in the 10,000s. I don't know. I've never been there, but I would like to be one day. When you go into the Diamond Shop, they are going to treat you the same. You are not going to be looked down on. There's not going to be high pressure. They're going to listen. They're going to find out what would be the right special priceless item for you, for yourself, for your loved one. And when you become a VIP, online, thediamondshop.net. You're going to be able to save a little extra on top of most of your purchases just by acquiring that VIP status, which you can apply for right now. Go visit them in Clayton and see their beautiful store. Meet wonderful people at this family-owned and operated business in Clayton, online at thediamondshop.net.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you're still healthy and qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
The YouTube live chat poll today is about the topic we were just talking about. How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? There are a few options there. Let us know what you think, and we will, as usual, give you the results of this poll at the end of the show. It is 1:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We want to get directly to our guest here. Ryan Schmelz joins us once again, Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill and White House correspondent. Ryan, the last time we talked to you, we were asking you if you were going to be there all night to cover the big, beautiful bill as it was trying to pass, and you said, I'm going on vacation. And it did take a lot of the evening to get that done. How's Capitol Hill buzzing right now that the big, beautiful bill has been signed into law?
Well, it's pretty quiet because House Speaker Mike Johnson actually sent the House home after this was over. He brought them back for a week that they were supposed to be out, which was 4th of July week, usually a recess there for the holiday. They ended up working all the way through 4th of July. So the House decided to cancel votes. However, you do have the Senate that's still in session. And obviously, I think Democrats are really trying to weaponize this argument that Medicaid is going to take a significant cut here. And there's going to be a significant amount of people who are going to lose their benefits because of it. But what's interesting is you also have Josh Hawley today having a press conference on RICA, which was something he's been fighting for some time now. That was included in the big, beautiful bill, which this was something Republicans struggled to get across the finish line, but now RICA has been funded, and that's probably one of the small things that kind of got forgotten about in this argument, but it's there.
So we're speaking with Ryan Schmelz right now on Capitol Hill. We've seen our senator here in the state of Missouri, Eric Schmidt, talking about the rescissions package. Now that the big, beautiful bill is out of the way, can you give us a baseline definition so that when people hear rescissions package, they can understand what it is that they're discussing?
Right. So a rescissions package is a process which starts with the White House. The White House can send a request for budget cuts or rescissions that have already been appropriated or approved by Congress and essentially cut them out of the federal budget. So in this case, you have Republicans who are pushing for a rescissions package for number of things. So you've got funding for NPR, funding for PBS. You've also got funding for USAID. What the Trump administration has done is requested that these things be cut from the budget, even though Congress already appropriated those funds. It's a very simple process, too, because you only need 50 votes in the Senate and you only need a simple majority in the House. So there's no way to filibuster this for Democrats. The question is, though, are the votes there? And right now in the Senate, it looks like they're still struggling to get those votes. So there's this idea that the Senate could maybe water this down a little bit, take some of the things out. You know, PBS funding's been a big thing, especially for those who represent areas of rural America, because it's a very valuable tool in rural America. So there could be a thought of getting rid of that. But then, of course, if you get rid of that, then you're sending a package back to the House that's less conservative than what it was before. But at the same time, they're trying to cut spending here. So any spending cuts that are included could be good enough for the House. It just depends on what the Senate ultimately does here.
We're speaking with Ryan Schmelz. So when I hear what I hear you saying right now, a lot of the criticisms of the big, beautiful bill from some fiscal hawks on the conservative side, they wanted more spending cuts and more spending cuts. When are the Doge cuts going to be put into the big, beautiful bill? It sounds like maybe this is where those fiscal hawks could actually make some hay in getting some of those things signed.
That's absolutely right. This is where you're going to see a lot of the Doge cuts be codified. And the reason for that is because the reconciliation process, which you saw the one big beautiful bill pass through, they can only touch things that are considered mandatory spending. So entitlement programs, Social Security, Medicaid, military, national defense, whether it's Homeland Security or other places, that's the only place in terms of spending cuts you can really touch. So that's kind of a challenge because a lot of those things are not politically sexy to go after. The things that are in the rescissions process, where the Doge cuts are, that's under discretionary spending, which are things that are a little less politically divisive amongst Republicans, like USAID or certain programs in there. The question is, though, you know, this is a small package compared to how big the federal government is. It's only about $9 billion. But did the Trump administration pick the wrong things to put into a very small package for the most part? You know, PBS funding has ended up being very divisive amongst Republicans. There's certain programs in USAID that are under this that have been a big point of debate. They've seemed to have worked those out in some cases, but there just doesn't seem to be enough there to get all Republicans on board, or at least in a very enthusiastic way. You saw a number of them vote no on the House side, and if they get 4 no votes on the Senate, this thing's done for.
Sure. All right. Ryan Schmelz speaking with us right now. So we've talked about the big, beautiful bill that's passed in the Senate, passed in the House, signed into law by the president last Friday. Now we're discussing the rescissions package. To clarify, that none of these are the budget, correct? The budget is something completely separate. And for those people who are clamoring for a balanced budget, entirely different discussion?
For the most part, yes. So the government is currently funded through the end of September. And right now they're going through what's called the budget process, which would start the next fiscal year early October. And that would be fiscal year 2026 funding. So this would rescind whatever's in fiscal year 2025's funding. So things that are funded between now and the end of the year. Now, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is not a funding bill or a budget bill. It is a bill that includes government spending in it. So you have, obviously, the tax cuts. You have the revenue streams, which are spending for the military as well as Homeland Security. And you also have spending cuts in there. But kind of think of it as the bill is its own separate budget, but it's not the true thing that's going to fund the federal government through the next fiscal year. Pretty much the debate is this bill going to pay for itself? Not is it going to pay for the federal government? But it still has implications on things like the national debt and other funding streams, because, you know, these Medicaid cuts or these Medicaid changes are going to become law. Work requirements at the federal level are going to become law. So there are some things that will impact how much money the government can spend, or how much, you know, which people or which individuals are getting government benefits or certain entitlement programs, but it's not truly the budget process. That process is actually starting up right now, which we call the appropriations process, which is where they will go through each part of the government, negotiate a bill that would fund it, and try to get the votes to pass it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for that. Every once in a while, we need to go over vocabulary words for me, and then, of course, for the rest of the listeners as well who want to brush up. I want to shift gears here because I know that you have a connection to Texas and these the tragedy there. We've discussed this a bit on the show today, but it's hard to cover. It's hard to talk about. The details are one tragic story after the other. Over 100 people who have lost their lives in this tragic flooding. What is your connection to this? What do you want to highlight?
Well, so I was a volunteer firefighter at my first job in Odessa, Texas, and Midland, Texas. I was a member of the Midland County Northeast Volunteer Fire Department. They are actually there right now on the ground providing aid, assisting in rescue operations, pretty much doing anything that they're needed to do right now. So obviously, I'm very prideful in the fact that I was a part of this organization and knew some of the men who are and women who are on the scene right now. So that's huge. This is kind of common for Texas. We saw this happen when there were some other floods going on in Houston and San Antonio, but this one definitely came as a shock, I think, to a lot of people. And of course, you look at the loss of life; it's terrifying. I mean, it's enough to give you nightmares, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so hard about this right now, especially when you think about the first responders who are on the ground. They already know the details. They know that a number of children have been killed in the dozens, and that death toll is sadly rising. But there's still a lot that are missing. And, there's got to be a thought in their head that they're searching for these children, knowing that if they find them, this could be something that gives them nightmares for the rest of their lives, if it hasn't already given them that. I mean, just the thoughts of what is going on in Texas right now is enough to keep you up at night, right?
Yeah.
So to think about the first responders who are on the scene, God bless them. They're doing the Lord's work right now, but this is not easy stuff that they're doing. And you've probably seen some of the pictures. Some of these first responders are overwhelmed, not just with the work that they're doing, but also just the emotional toll this is taking on them.
Yeah. Ryan, I think about the preparation to be a first responder, to be a firefighter like you have served. We're grateful for your service in that as well. You can prepare to do all these things, but in a moment like this, I don't think it's humanly possible to really prepare for a tragedy like this, but we still need people who can move into that place and be a helper. And I'm grateful for you bringing up that connection that you have, because those first responders need prayers like the families do, like the community does, to keep and protect them and provide safety for them as they do this mission, but also the toll that this is going to take for a lifetime, honestly, on those people who are there on the ground.
Absolutely. And, you got to think about in the situation, a lot of these volunteers who are traveling to the Hill Country are volunteer. So, they're not getting paid for this. They're leaving their families behind to go do this. They are leaving their jobs behind to go do this. This is a big undertaking that they're going through, and it's very important work that they're doing. And obviously, I think everyone's very grateful that they're doing this. But this is a very terrifying situation. I've got a former morning anchor who I shared the air with when I was in Odessa, Midland as a weatherman, believe it or not. She's missing a couple family members and a niece right now. So this is hitting close to home for a lot of people. And just to show you the gravity, Camp Mystic was a very popular summer camp. You have Congressman August Pfluger. He had two daughters there. He represents the Odessa Midland area and San Angelo. You also have Buddy Carter, the congressman from Georgia, the one who's running for Senate. He's from Georgia, and he had a granddaughter and other family members who were there. And sadly, he just told us on Fox a few minutes ago, we're going to interview him for a podcast soon, later today. His granddaughter's cousin was one of the people who died. I mean, this is just a very tragic situation in so many ways.
Yeah. The burden is great, but we'll have to share that burden in prayer for certain. Thank you for putting the spotlight on those first responders, those firefighters, especially the fact that a lot of these people are volunteers and they're doing this because it's the right thing to do. And we all pray that if we were ever, God forbid, in a situation like this, that help would be there for us. And those volunteer firefighters and those first responders, they sign up to do that job on day one. And we're very grateful for them. Ryan, thank you for being with us here today. It's good to talk to you. Thank you for your service and bringing that to our attention as well.
Hey, thank you, Annie. Anytime.
God bless. Ryan Schmelz is the Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill and White House correspondent. He's absolutely right to highlight the life-altering experience that the people who are part of the recovery and rescue operation. This is going to be life-altering for them. It's not something that you don't just, oh, well, it's just part of the job. It's just something you have to do. Like, you can't be human. It's hard to process. Quick break. When we come back, we're going to, let's see here. You guys want to answer the YouTube poll when we come back?
Mm-hmm. I have very strong opinions about this poll.
In the 2 o'clock hour, I'm going to talk about my lucid dream, and you can talk a little bit about controlling them. I'm going to give you that highlight in the 2 o'clock hour. We're also going to talk about the Superman movie, which, ironically, I didn't know about until James Gunn decided to promote his movie. Not to me. I wonder if you've heard this. We'll also play X's and Y's in the 2 o'clock hour. So get on the Annie Fry YouTube, live chat, and comment questions that you have for the opposite sex, and we will respond with our answers. Get to the bottom of it. Pull the curtain back on what the other sex out there thinks about any particular situation. If you've got an assumption, a presumption, a judgment, especially those, we want to hear them in the YouTube chat. You can vote as well. How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Get your vote in, your comments next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
You're gone, gone, gone away. I watched you disappear. All that's left is a ghost of you. Now we're torn, torn, torn apart. There's nothing we can do. Just let me go, we'll meet again soon. Now wait for me. Please hang around. I'll see you when I fall asleep. Don't listen to a word I say.
RulerFoods.com, saving on your grocery bill. Boy, you go to Ruler Foods, you're going to be able to do that pretty easily. They've always got great sales on especially produce. That's where my family can really fill up the cart because the kids can still eat healthy and it doesn't break the bank. That's important. Us too. It's not just the kids, but definitely also including the kids. They also have a great meat department that's going to have fresh meat that you can use and fresh meat that you can save on, especially the hamburger. They've always got great deals on that as well. You can shop smart at Ruler Foods, and you can go online and place an order. So the savings that exist in the store, if you want to have them delivered to your door, if you go to rulerfoods.com, you're going to be able to set up a delivery. So all of those savings can get shipped directly to your door. Shop while you're sitting in your recliner, watching the news, watching a movie, take care of it, do it with ease, and also save money while you're doing it. It's a smart way to go about it. If you haven't been to a Ruler Foods yet, I implore you to go to rulerfoods.com and type in your zip code and find one. It's probably right around the corner from you. They're all over the place here. rulerfoods.com.
Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. Not sure if you've noticed, but the storms seem to be especially bad this spring. If you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not going to be damaged like in the 314-day storm. So we do roofing, siding, gutters, fences. We're always going to be the middle bid. We're never going to cut corners. We're never going to take advantage of you. Call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
This song is called December. Do you know who it's by? Collective Soul. That's right. From Off Mic, Annie Fry got it right. Collective Soul is coming to town on July 17th. That is coming up pretty soon. Now is the time to call if you want to win free tickets to that show. 314-241-9797. We're looking for the 17th caller because it's on July 17th. So if you get one of the other numbers, just keep trying and try to be number 17. 314-241-9797. 9797, and the 17th caller wins. The time is 1:52, but this time check doesn't matter because I already did the time check in the last break. Collective Soul! Yay!
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com.
How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Let's go through some of the comments here. Gary said any illegal who self-deports could be given a pathway to citizenship or legal work status. So you're saying you got to get out of here, and then if you leave and you want to come back, you wouldn't take away their ability to become a citizen if they re-entered and went through the system appropriately. Ms. Hostel says, I chose pathway to citizenship, which technically they have right now. Self-deport and come back the right way. Otherwise, get deported and no chance for citizenship. She had me there at the beginning.
Well, that is a pathway to citizenship. It's not the one I was thinking, but I guess that is a path.
The options are deport all illegal immigrants, legal status for some workers, or pathway to citizenship. What are you doing?
I don't really see how we do anything other than deport all illegal immigrants at this point. The problem, if this question were asked in 2018, the answer might be a little bit different. There might be a little more room for discussion. But what the Biden administration did forces the hand of all of America now, because it's overwhelmingly in support of this choice, deport all illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan on this one. It's you can't be here. You came here incorrectly. You came here not following the law, so it's time for you to go. You can either go on your own or we can remove you. So I do understand, and I like the idea. If you self-deport, get back in line, do it the right way, we'd be happy to have you. But if we have to remove you, then you're banned, you're gone, you never get to come back. So I'm of the mind that we need to just deport every illegal immigrant as possible. And
Doug says Trump got a mandate. That mandate was not, quote, deport illegals until the left labels you a heartless racist and rogue judges issue injunctions.
Yep.
It wasn't. The mandate was deport illegals. Nothing less will do. This is an emotional issue for the left. This is important to hear what I'm actually saying. Don't read into this. There are a lot of very emotionally driven, kind people, good people on the left who are 100% emotionally driven by this issue, and they're not interested in discussing why having 20 plus million people in this country illegally is bad for the people who are here legally. They only see the heart of the matter, and I don't disrespect that. I think that the people who are in our country, or the citizens, the people who are here, who know loved ones or have people in their life that are here and maybe came here illegally, they love those people. They know that outside of that, they make good decisions. I understand the emotion behind saying, do we have to? But Biden made the problem so bad that the answer is, yeah, we do.
I understand that too, and I respect it, but
we'll talk
tough.
more about it in a minute. Don't go away.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com. Have you some shopping in your future for new flooring? Very exciting, very transformational for the space that you're going to put this new flooring in. And I want you to give Michael's Flooring Outlet the opportunity to earn your business. I think I'll be glad you did. You could trust me on that. You go to igotfloored.com and you can start your shopping process there. But they do have 3 separate locations here in the St. Louis area, St. Charles County, West County, and Darien Prairie. If you're looking to put in flooring here on either side of the river, I don't think you're going to find anyone better than Michael's Flooring Outlet. They have a huge, huge opportunity to peruse a bunch of different products. So you can really make a great choice for you, for your budget, for the quality you're seeking out, in the price point you're looking for. And they're going to walk you through getting that done. Super simple. Like I said, if you start at igotfloored.com, you are going to be able to request an estimate right there. Read reviews as well. As I said, 3 locations across the area, igotfloored.com.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Possible movement on a Gaza ceasefire. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. As Israel's prime minister visits Washington, U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East Steve Witkoff telling reporters,
"We are hopeful that by the end of this week, we will have an agreement that will bring us into a 60-day ceasefire."
Witkoff says that would include the release of 10 living and 9 dead hostages. President Trump now plans a second meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu after a White House dinner last night.
Gaza is a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And he wants to get it solved, and I want to get it solved, and I think the other side wants to get it solved.
Netanyahu has been on Capitol Hill today after meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance. The president's blaming Russia's leader for a stalemate in ceasefire talks with Ukraine.
In emphatic terms, President Trump says he is not happy with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
The president says the U.S. is increasing the shipment of some defensive weapons to Ukraine amid escalating airstrikes from Russia.
That's why we're going to step up these contractors now that make it, and they're brilliant, but they make it too slowly.
President Trump also says he's considering new sanctions targeting Russia.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Ukraine's president ordering expanded contacts with U.S. officials to ensure critical deliveries of supplies as quickly as possible following a recent Pentagon pause. An increasingly desperate search in Texas after Friday's devastating floods.
With each passing minute, the hopes of finding survivors becomes more bleak. And frankly, when you started getting into subsequent hours after the flood, you get into the next day, it's always been a long shot, but the rescuers out here want to hold out hope until all hope is lost.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Kerr County, Texas. The flooding now blamed for at least 109 deaths. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Going to be some rumbles around, scattered around as we go through the afternoon. At prime time for thunderstorms now until about 8 p.m. A couple of these things could go strong to severe, so let's pay attention. 92 for the high. Tonight, couple of thunderstorms this evening, fading away, 73. Wednesday, partly sunny, couple of storms here and there, near 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show Live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
You gonna go see Superman?
I'm glad you asked. I love Superman movies.
Really?
And 2 weeks ago, I saw that this was coming out, and I said, oh, Katie, we should go see Superman in a couple weeks.
So you knew that Superman, which of these should I play first, 18 or 19? Probably the
18.
You don't even know what I'm talking
19.
about. Stop it.
Yeah, I would play 18 first because that sets the stage.
See, 18.
I think James is the director. Sean's the actor. Sean Gunn is one of the guys in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And he is, I can't remember what his name is. It doesn't really matter.
He's the guy that shoots the arrows around?
No.
That's not him.
Not until the end.
Ah.
Because the guy who shoots the arrows around, who says, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all." If you say Mary Poppins in my house, it gets repeated every time with "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all."
I don't even know that line.
At the end of, I think it's Guardians 1, the guy who does whistle the arrows around, or maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's like descending from the air, and I think he has an umbrella or something. And it's in the middle of he's descending in the air with an umbrella, and he's in the middle of this like battle scene, and he's like, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all," and it's a great line. And Mary Poppins is the Disney Queen, which is my fave. But it's the guy at the end who's like trying to learn how to do the whistle thing with the arrow. That's Sean Gunn.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas movie?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good because the girl who plays, what's her name? Lotus or?
The bug?
The bug.
Mantis.
I was close. Mantis. She's really funny in that.
She's funny. Guardians, we just finished Shang-Chi, which is the first movie that comes after Endgame in the timeline. We didn't watch any of those. I was like, forget about it. I'm not watching any of those.
Oh.
So the MCU timeline, the good one, starts with Captain America, the first one, and it ends with Endgame. Mm-hmm. If you haven't watched these movies, Ethan enters the room like Kramer. If you haven't watched these movies, what is wrong with you? Watch the movies. They're fantastic. Ethan, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I love the MCU. It's so good.
Beyond that, like, does it continue past Endgame for you?
So, it is not at the level that it was, but some of the movies have still been solid. No Way Home was phenomenal from a nostalgia.
So that's Superman.
No, that's
Spider-Man. And all the Spider-Man movies are well worth the watch. The Jake Gyllenhaal one is my least favorite.
I enjoyed Shang-Chi.
WandaVision.
WandaVision was really good as well.
I liked Loki season 1 too.
I thought both seasons of Loki were pretty good.
WandaVision and Loki are not movies; they're series on Disney Plus.
Yes.
So if you have not watched these movies, it's such a massive undertaking. But listen, you could spend like a year of Friday nights or whenever your free time is watching a movie, and the fact that you can watch them not in their release timeline, like, oh, this one was released in 2017, this one was released in 2018. They have a story timeline. We watched Black Widow for the first time, it was a couple weeks ago. We tried to watch it when it came out, which was a couple years ago, but our daughters were too young, and the movie's all about stealing girls and turning them into crazy assassin people. And we're like, we'll just wait on that one. But we watched it. It was good. Made me happy to watch it. It's like nostalgic with the series.
I missed. Have you watched Guardians 3 yet?
I think so.
That one, because you were talking about the Mary Poppins quote, and that's not from that one, I don't think.
That's 2.
Two.
So, who are the main characters in Guardians 3?
So Guardians 3 is the one that specifically looks back on Rocket, the raccoon, and his past, and walks
I thought
through.
It was not the good one.
Really?
I didn't like that one.
Oh my gosh, that was by far my favorite Guardians.
But maybe if we're rewatching them, so we're continuing on through the timeline past Endgame this time. We've never done that before.
Okay.
So maybe.
Yeah,
I'll like it the next time around.
It's been different because Marvel's going through this really odd phase, I think is how you could put it, because they're kind of transitioning from the staples, right, of the MCU, which was Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., and Captain America, Chris Evans, and some of these other big names. And the transition, that's hard to do. That's hard to do when you've, like you said, the MCU's been around so long and you've fallen in love with these characters, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're moving on. It's a challenge.
The greatest thing about this series is that they told great stories of people who were virtuous for the most part, virtuous people who had character flaws that could be intermittently relatable to any of us. Like, you can watch a Doctor Strange movie and you're not I hope if you are this person, you're listening to the show, but you're probably not the world's greatest brain surgeon. But this character has an enormous ego, incredibly narcissistic, but he's the best at what he does. So he's kind of got, in his mind, permission to be this way. And then he's humbled, and then he's a superhero, and so on and so forth. But you can watch these stories with dynamic characters who work within them. And, of course, you have at the center of all of it Robert Downey Jr., who is the heartbeat of the MCU and the most perfect character arc of all of them. But they're great stories, and they're just great stories. There's no, like, all right, everybody sit down. It's time to learn a lesson. There's no force feeding of some sort of virtue that isn't about a character's virtue and their story arc. It's about you as the audience member's virtue and your story arc. And it's a good thing that you came and paid $20 to watch this overpriced movie, because you're about to learn a lesson about you and how you can be a better person. We've gone through that. America has, on the whole, said, I am zero interested in that. I've seen a lot of people, Snow White, which we talked a lot about on the show. Snow White is on Disney Plus. I see a lot of people commenting right now, wait until it was on Disney Plus and watch it. It's really not that bad of a movie. That's what they keep saying, which is even more interesting to me. I haven't watched it yet. I might watch it. I don't know. It's even more interesting that people are saying regularly, I watched it and it's really not that bad of a movie. That just shows how much this woke nonsense absolutely has no place in our entertainment world as a force-fed lesson for the audience to learn, where these much more virtuous directors and actors and actresses and writers and producers that they're going to teach us. That we're all just sitting around waiting to be told how we're going to behave in the future. Like everything they do is this piece of art that reflects the current state of our community and our culture. And if they didn't make this film, we wouldn't know how bad we actually were being.
Is exactly what the movie is about. I think that we support our people. We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American.
Okay, so Sean Gunn is now handing out the American card and telling us who gets to be and who doesn't get to be American, which is really ironic when he's talking about immigrants who are not American, who we Americans are not kind enough to. And this is after, that's Sean Gunn, this is after James Gunn made the comment about Superman. That's the movie that they have just made, that they have put out. It's supposed to be a big epic production. That Superman came out and said, this James Gunn, the director, said that this is a movie about an immigrant and how unkind Americans can be to immigrants. That's where you pissed me off, mister. When you want to make, if you want to make a snide wink, it's not really a subtle comment about how Superman is an immigrant, I can probably be like, okay, yes, he's an immigrant. Okay. I would call him an alien. But you could, okay, fine. But you're going to slip in here the unkind nature of the billions of dollars you'd like to make off of Americans in the course. How much money has this guy grossed? How much money have Americans spent on James Gunn's career?
James Gunn, he's made a lot of money.
A lot of money. From all you a-holes out there. How dare you, unkind Americans. Finally, in 2025, I will show you exactly how you could be more kind to immigrants because of Superman.
But it worked, didn't it?
I hope nobody goes to see this movie. I hope you stream it when it gets to streaming if you really love Superman, Ryan.
I do love Superman. I think this was part of their planned PR, was to drop something socially about the movie, because I don't think it was getting much attention.
I did not know. But to me, as a non-Superman type of person, did not know this was coming out. But if it was told to me, it would not register in the memory to recall at a later time. So did it cross my path? Possibly. I just didn't pay attention to it. But if you're a Superman person like yourself,
which I am,
then you see that a Superman movie's coming out, you lean in, you're interested.
Yeah, I was interested before the controversy. Now I'm like, really?
Are you less interested?
I don't even know if I'm going to go see it now because of the stupid controversy. But the point is that Superman is an immigrant. He's an alien, but he grew up in Kansas, fully assimilated, and represents all American values.
True.
So in that sense, you'd be like, hey, I guess I'm pro-immigration if that's the goal. But also, hang on, before we get past the canon here, General Zod is also an immigrant, and those are the kind of immigrants we don't want. He's a former Kryptonian military general. He's a bad guy. So you got to take both sides on this if you're going to look at the canon.
What?
I wish that the director, or it was Sean Gunn that said that. I wish that he would have mentioned him specifically.
General Zod.
Yeah. General Zod had good intentions.
Superman actor Nathan Fillion made a comment on this as well.
James has said that Superman is an immigrant story, that it is political. MAGA today was getting a little upset that he called Superman an immigrant. I wanted to get your reaction.
Somebody needs a hug. It's just a movie, guys. It's just a movie.
Amen to that. That's the way to answer that question. And I don't know who this Variety reporter is or whatever. It says Variety on the video that we're playing. Let people infer that it's about illegal immigration. If there are people who in this great country that we live in go to the movie theater and look to your loved one, you're like, do you know what? This is just like the immigrants coming from across the southern border. These people come here and they're treated so poorly. the parallels, the correlation is uncanny. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. I was raised in a Lutheran education. I see Christ-like imagery everywhere. And I'm just going to say this. I think Tony Stark is like a savior. I think he is a savior character. At the end, the story arc there, is he flawed? Yes. Was Jesus flawed? No. But when I watch it and I see him sacrifice himself, I think that's Christ-like.
You're going to love the end of Harry Potter.
I've seen the Harry Potter. I watched it last year for the first time. And yes, is there C.S. Lewis navigating throughout the course of the entire thing? Yes, to me. But why would the author come out and be like, I just want everyone to know that this is a Jesus series? If you want to imply that, that's fine. If you want to infer some sort of tether that you have to a very important thing in your life, maybe it be your Christian faith, maybe it be your religious faith in government, I don't care. But why in the world would the people who want the money from all of those people be like, Americans are unkind, they hate immigrants, like Superman? Guys, I'm not here. I don't understand. I don't think you understand the concept of more money.
Truth, justice, and the American way. Why does MAGA hate this? It's the stupidest message. I bet the immigration thing is not even in this movie. I bet you watch it and you go, what in the world were they talking about? They just made something up right before it comes out.
Like Quick Rick says, is this a DEI Superman? I don't know.
I don't think it will be.
I'll never know. And then again, to the point of Snow White, my daughter watched it. She asked in the other room, she's like, can I go watch Snow White, the new Snow White? And one of my kids was like, no. I'll just be honest, it was my son. and I go, Charlie, I was like, why? He's like, you don't want to watch it. And I go, I don't care if she watches it. She's 9. She can watch it. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. But we're not paying extra money to support her as an actress. People, learn your lesson, for the love. All right, X's and Y. No. Local news and sports. When we come back, you got another one?
No, but yes, I do. But I want to hear your dream story at some point. Do we have to punt that to tomorrow?
Mm-mm.
All right.
Mm-mm. I will tell my dream story. We might punt X's and Y's.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah,
we were supposed to have Trisha in with us, and she got called into a meeting.
Oh, well, that works out perfectly.
Okay, we'll do X's and Y's tomorrow. I'll tell my lucid dream story, one that I haven't told anybody in my family, at 2:30. Let's go. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. When you have uneven concrete in your driveway and you've noticed lately it's getting worse, maybe there's water running under it and it caused the initial separation, but now it's getting a little out of hand. It's dangerous and you want to fix it. You've kind of dreaded making that phone call. You don't want to dig out all the concrete and replace it. You need a solution that is cost effective, but also that really, really works. Have you ever, I don't know why I fall into this algorithm online, but have you ever seen those videos, the shorts and reels of people leveling concrete? I watch those all day. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com, 314-227-9636. 314-227-9636. Call them and have them come out and check out your problem, your concrete lifting problem, driveways, sidewalks, walkways, even garage floors, patios, and pool decks. They work residentially and commercially, industrially. They can come out and use a polyurethane foam process that gets injected under the concrete, raises it up, and makes it level like new. 5-year warranty comes along with it. You just need to give them a phone call and be certain to tell them Annie sent you. 314-227-9636. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
When it comes to replacing your windows and doors, don't settle for ordinary. Choose extraordinary with Renewal by Andersen, the full-service window and door replacement division of Andersen, a name trusted for over 120 years. Our exclusive Fibrex material combines the strength and durability of wood with the low-maintenance features of vinyl, giving you windows and doors that are twice as strong as vinyl, energy efficient, and built to last. For a limited time, get 25% off every window, patio door, or entry door with no payments for 18 months and 0 interest. It's our best new client discount. Ready to transform your home? Dial pound 250 and say the keyword windows to schedule your no-cost design consultation or visit rbastl.com. That's pound 250. Keyword windows, or go to rbastl.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Check it out.
Sports and local.
And now, Ethan's nervous presentation of local news.
Well, you got it, Ethan. We're counting on you.
Yeah,
you know?
go, Ethan.
Let's go, Irfan.
That one might be my favorite so far. So,
we're in your corner, buddy.
Go get him.
It wasn't,
Champ.
At one point when I started this, I was like, maybe this is the segment that I'll starting put in one of my favorite songs or something. And
I thought you were going to say effort.
That quick. That always gets put in. And then I was like, then it would just, my favorite music would constantly be getting destroyed by hold up.
That's true.
I was like, you know what? We're going to not do that. All right, guys, local news time. If you ever have any stories where you're interested in hearing a little bit more about them, or you see an article title that interests you in the area, send it to me on Twitter or X at echan7. Tag me in it, DM me, whatever.
Do a show prep for him, please.
Please, yeah, we'll take that happily. Okay, this is kind of local.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks, I appreciate you, Ryan. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. After some debate, it felt like a few weeks ago, over trying to keep the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals in Missouri, they ended up, it looked like they were going to be getting a lot of funding from the state, and that has kind of...
The people of the state, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to be
right.
Super specific.
Thank you. And that's been changed. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's office hinted that the Chiefs and Royals won't be getting additional state funding after the team's owners asked Kansas lawmakers to extend their stadium financing deals. The Kansas Star Bonds was willing to cover up to 70% of the cost of a new stadium. Those were supposed to expire at the end of the month, as they were trying to debate or negotiate, I guess, the prices and what and how much money everyone would get. But now Mike Kehoe pulls that money, pulls that funding as they extend that deadline. And here's my question, because this was getting discussed a decent amount, and I know that the Cardinals were supposed to get some funding from this too for upgrades to their ballpark. Do you guys care at all if the Chiefs or the Royals move to Kansas? Does it matter to you guys at all?
I'm an Illinois resident, which is an important thing for me to say. I care zero. I don't think a lot of people on our side necessarily even know that they're not in Kansas already.
I am an Illinois resident as well, and I also care zero and added nothing to the conversation.
Brad?
As an Illinois resident, I also care zero. Like, if they're here in Missouri, great. If they're in Kansas, great. I don't care.
Sure. Yeah. No. So, I'm curious if there were any Missouri residents besides myself in the room, if that would change the conversation. Perhaps it wouldn't, though. I don't know. Just kind of interesting there. We'll see if.
Is it just because we're on the right side, the east side of the state, that none of us care?
That's kind of what the question is, right? Is it have to do with the state line there, or because I think that there might be some people in St. Louis specifically for the Chiefs that might care. But they were the ones that were looking more likely to stay in the first place. It seemed like more of the conversation was going around the Royals, but we'll have to wait and see what direction that goes in. Like I said, semi-local, not super local. Real quick here, we have a couple of minutes before we have to wrap this. Did you guys see that St. Louis is getting a new sports team in the area? Anyone?
WNBA?
No.
Badminton?
No.
Pickleball.
The St. Louis Nellies are the newest team in the National Thoroughbred League.
These are horses?
Yeah.
The St. Louis Nellies will be making their debut at Fairmount Park later this month. And if the name didn't hint on already, they are owned by Nelly.
Is this like going to watch the Savannah Bananas but horses?
No, Ryan, I don't think so.
The Bananas are almost in town.
According
Week from Friday, I think.
According to the National Thoroughbred League, Grammy winner Nelly is a large stakeholder in the St. Louis Nellies, a team relocating from Seattle. On July 19th, Nelly will host the first ever National Thoroughbred League Nelly Cup at Fairmount Park in Collinsville. Admission to the event is free.
Is he throwing out the first pitch?
What would be the equivalent of throwing out the first pitch in horse racing, Ryan?
Do you root for teams? Is that how this goes now?
Poop and scooping.
Yeah, you get to scoop up some excrement
and throw it down the track.
Yeah, you just kind of fling it into the crowd.
Why does it always go in that direction?
You brought it up.
Why with you? No, I did not bring it up. You did.
I didn't say that.
So
Annie said that.
This time it was on Annie.
Sorry.
Well, Nelly is once again giving back to the city here. Love to see the St. Louis local doing his thing. And, the rest, really just St. Louis sports news. Brendan Donovan, did you guys see he got elected as an all-star for the upcoming all-star game?
No pitchers, huh?
No pitchers. Thought maybe Sonny Gray would sneak in there, but he does not end up getting the vote from the players. Donovan was the second highest voted National League member, though. The starters get voted by fans, and the backups, the reserves, all get voted by players. So it's kind of cool to see Brendan Donovan get so many votes, highly regarded among the lead. And that is it for Ethan's local nerve-wracking, whatever it was called today, news.
Nervous.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
And now, Ethan's nervous presentation of local news.
If you want to make a suggestion of what we should call this segment that is Ethan's baby, you can submit it to the YouTube live chat. You can tweet it at Radio Wiggins. You can tweet stories at echan with 2 N's, 7. Echan 7. And you can also record it. You could do the voiceover yourself for it by finding us on the Odyssey app. When you see the play button for 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app, next to it is, I think is it a microphone? To record.
Button.
You just click it and you record right into it. It comes to us. And you can record it and then you can check and see if it's the one you want to send. But if you do a voiceover, you might hear yourself introducing Irfin's Blurfs. Stay right here. I'll tell you about my lucid dream when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
If you listen to talk radio, you probably can't go very long at all without hearing about low T and all of that stuff and all the things that come along with that. I get it. It's a common thing that you're going to hear. I want to introduce you to Infinite Vitality. Gentlemen out there, my husband just went and had a panel done to see what his numbers would come back. And this is really where I want to stress going to Infinite Vitality. It's not like, oh, you're a dude and you're 40, here you go, or you're 50 or whatever. They're going to learn about you. They're going to take your blood. They're going to do a panel, and they're going to be able to give you exactly hardcore factual evidence as to why maybe you want to work on this type of hormone therapy. Maybe you want to work on this type of weight loss method. and they're going to make you feel really comfortable about why you're taking the path that you choose to take. Infinite Vitality will help you beat the fatigue, the tiredness that plagues you throughout the day, that makes it more difficult to get the gains out of the gym. You go, you work hard, you're tired, and it just doesn't seem to be paying off the way it used to. Get your vitality back. I promise that you'll be glad you made this appointment with Infinite Vitality. Mention Annie. Save $50 on hormone replacement therapy and weight loss management. Infinite-vitality.com.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Mark Cox here. Let me introduce you to my friends at the Lit Cigar Lounge in St. Louis, where luxury meets comfort. Premium hand-rolled cigars, an extensive selection of rare bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails. It's comfortable for non-smokers, too. They have a state-of-the-art ventilation system. They have private lockers and live music every Friday night, perfect for date nights or business meetings or just winding down. Visit litstl.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Deport all illegal immigrants, give legal status for some workers, or should there be a pathway to citizenship? Those are your options in the YouTube live chat poll. We are about 20 minutes away from giving you the results of this poll, so vote now. 2:34. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Take a speeding down to 65 and nowhere I'm going. Guess I really
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Hearkening back to about 12:50 in Wiggins, America. You were talking about lucid dreaming. We were talking about whether or not we've ever lucid dreamt?
Dreamt? I think that's correct.
Dreamed? I dreamed a dream. And I was saying, I don't know if I had, but then I thought about it. There was one dream where I was 100% aware that I was in a dream. And I felt it was so, there's just something that is tangible about a dream like that, where you're in your dream and you understand what's going on. It's a very wild experience to have. Have you lucid? Do you?
Yeah, but it's been years. When I was a teenager, I had a couple lucid dreams where I knew I was dreaming. Since then, the older I get, the less I even remember my dreams.
I wish I could remember the year that it took place. It was within the last 3 years or so, maybe 4 years. and this I don't know what this was. It's probably just a dream, whatever. But I remember vividly being in a kitchen that was supposed to be my kitchen. And I was doing dishes and I was looking out the window, and I think that there were people outside, so maybe we had company. And like the kitchen that I was in, I was incredibly familiar with it. I knew where everything was. So it wasn't the kitchen that I have right now or have had in my past, but it was in my dream, like I knew it to be my home. And I think that this was, I feel like it was at least years after my grandma passed away. And this is the grandma that passed away in 2020. She had a heart attack. She was 95. Wonderful life. I'm fully convinced that she just was ready to go home to be with her savior and her husband. And that is an understanding that gives me peace. It's when your loved one is 95 and is living a fully independent life and they have a heart attack at 95, I think she was maybe in the hospital for a week or two. It's hard to want more from that. It actually seems pretty selfish to want more from that. But it's also something that you don't prepare for. It's not a long sickness. It's not something that you're kind of coming to grips with the reality while you're watching a loved one deteriorate. So it kind of hits you abruptly, you know? And I think it's a blessing to not have to watch your loved one go through something like that. If you live to be 95 and then one day you're like, I'm going to see Jesus, then, you know, God's blessings to you. So in this dream, which was maybe a year or two after, I was standing in this dream, I was standing in my kitchen and I was just like doing mundane kitchen tasks. And in my dream, I had this understanding that I needed to turn around and look around. And my grandma was standing there. And I knew that she had passed in my dream. But she was standing there, like in my dream, in the flesh. And she grabbed my hands. And I've said this before in the show, but I always like to say this again because I think it like brings you in touch with the people who matter most to you. The people who you know the best and often who you love the most, you can picture their hands. Can you picture your father's hands? There are people who are listening right now and your parents have passed a long time ago, but I bet you know what your mother's hands look like. I bet you know what your child's hands look like. If you had 20 people line up and all you could see were the people's hands, you could pick your loved one's hands out of that lineup. To me, there's just something, I can close my eyes and I can see the hands of all of my grandparents. And I remember in that dream, like she held my hands and I don't think she said anything to me, but she didn't, when she looked at me, it was like she gave me a great sense of concern and that I had this complete understanding that she needed me to care for people in my life. That she had a great, and I don't know what the concern was. Now I'm not going to get into like all of my business, but it was, she came to me and she held my hands and I looked into her eyes and I knew I was dreaming and I knew she wasn't real. I knew she had passed away. I know with full certainty that she's with Jesus. And she held my hand and it was like a plea from her to care for my family. And I like wanted more. And like right after that happened, the kids ran into the house and I turned to look and see who ran in the house and I turned back and she was gone. And that's my dream. But that
How long ago was that?
Couple years maybe.
How long after she passed away?
Couple years maybe. She passed away in 2020.
Okay.
I feel like it would have been like, I think it was well after Molly was born. So maybe like 22, 23.
But it stuck with you different than other dreams.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like I know how that I know how that dream felt right now. And I know that the kitchen in my dreams had yellow curtains.
When you woke up, what was your emotion?
It took my breath away.
Like good?
Like I had just been with my grandma.
But there's a peace about it, right?
It was unsettling.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was so it's not necessarily like whatever the content of that dream, like, you know, of course everybody listening right now is interpreting that dream, and I'm sure everybody has thoughts. I've had my thoughts, but the realness of that experience, it was almost suffocating. It felt so real. Like I felt her hands hold my hands. You know how like grandmas like hold your hands? Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid of it. I don't have a fear of it. But the breath, I mean, when I say breathtaking, you ever wake up from something like that and you lay in bed, it's kind of like something a kid would do, but I still do it as an adult. Like you freeze, because if you move, then it's like you acknowledge your presence in the room or something like that. Like you just freeze. And I laid there frozen, and I couldn't really, having a dream like that was way out of the ordinary. And I'm a dreamer. Like I dream about things. I dream about the stupidest, ridiculous, annoying things nightly. You're trying to do a task, you can't get it done. Why? I don't know. But I guess there's certainly some psychology behind that.
Terminator's chasing you.
No.
I'm not saying that I have that. I was just saying that's a normal thing.
Mostly just, you know, like I said, I made the point before, it's I come to work, and a lot of times it's like I've been on vacation and I come to work and nobody's here, nobody's doing anything, or maybe you guys are here and you're just sitting there not talking. And
that's kind of normal.
Well,
for me,
depends
not
on
Brad.
the segment.
Brad's always moving.
But it's not. It's like I'm in my own existence and nobody is doing the things. It could be the same thing at home. It could be me trying to get to work on the road and there's just a billion obstacles. Like that's my normal dream. This was totally. It didn't feel like a dream. I can't explain it, but that's the closest I feel like. And in my dream, I was 100% aware that I was dreaming, and all I wanted to do was talk to my grandma. I wanted to talk to her, and I had so many things that I wanted to say that I like couldn't pick one. And the second that I looked away to the door, when the door opened and people came in, she was gone.
Last question for you. Was it unsettling because of the experience itself, or was it unsettling because of what she said?
She didn't say anything.
Well, take care of your family.
But I mean, that's like, in the dream she didn't say anything, but she looked at me, and that's the thought
message.
I had. That to me seemed to be what I dreamt. Like I don't remember hearing her voice, and I think the unsettling thing was it felt so real. I wondered what it was. It didn't frighten me. Like I wasn't like worried about what was going to happen next. It was just, why did that happen?
It was jarring.
Very jarring. To the extent that like, I'm not like hoping for that to happen again. I don't wonder where my grandma is. I know where she is. With certainty, I know where she is. I don't know. Rick said, were you with her when she died? Nope, it was 2020. Just my mom, because nobody else could visit her. It's the stupidest thing. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't need to know what it is either. Like I said, I don't have a sense of, like a displacement about it this far in, but boy, I know like whatever that was different.
What's amazing about it is once you tell the story, which you just did, most people will go, they're not going to look at you like you're crazy. And a lot of them will go, oh, I had something similar. I've had something that I don't really talk about it either. And because I used to do a show that was about supernatural stuff. And you wouldn't believe how many people, once they'd find out, oh, you're kind of in that world. Okay, interesting. Let me tell you about a story that happened to me once, over and over and over and over. It's really much more common than you think it is, but it also is uncommon for each person. Like it's something you never forget your whole life. I met a guy at a flea market once who was 80-something years old. He's since passed away. That he told me once he heard the story and just knew, oh, you're a safe person to talk to. Let me tell you about something that happened when I was 25. He was over 80. Never forgotten it.
I will say, Rick said and he's making me cry, so I'm trying to keep my act together here. He asked if I was with her when she died, and I said no, and he said that I didn't get to say goodbye, and she made sure you got to see her.
Wow.
What I will say is that the last we had Zoom conversations with her because we couldn't go see her. So my Evelyn, who's 9, is named after my grandma. She was 4 years old. She was 4, just turned 4 at the time. And she had learned the Lord's Prayer. And she had like just recently learned the Lord's Prayer. And so, I mean, when you're sitting on a Zoom call with your grandma, and she's in the hospital and you're sitting at home and you've been Zooming for half the year because of stupid COVID. At some point, you sit and spend time together, but you're not necessarily having conversation the whole time. And we were getting ready to wrap up. And I said to my grandma, I said, oh, Evelyn has something she wants to show you. She learned how to say the Lord's Prayer. And so my grandma was very happy to hear that. And so Evelyn said the Lord's Prayer to my grandma over that Zoom call, and then we said goodbye. And that was the last time we talked to her.
Wow.
So that was our goodbye. Wow, this is a heavy segment. We should talk about Superman next.
Or the YouTube live chat poll.
I've got a good video when we come back. Let's take a quick break. Don't go away.
Wide open, somebody pour me a drink, somebody bum me a smoke.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
STS-armory.com. You can be in a great company with Katie and Jesse. They're great staff at STS Armory. They got a brand new location in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. big, beautiful red. It's kind of like a barn kind of looking thing, and it's fantastic. If you go to STS Armory online, it's sts-armory.com. You can shop there. You can see the inventory that they have. You can look for something that they might be able to acquire for you, but it's not just firearms and ammunition. They have a lot of security devices available to you. They have accessories. They have great holsters that you can choose from. Everything that you need when it comes to the Second Amendment, you're going to be able to get in spades at STS Armory, including the educational classes, the conceal and carry licensure renewal classes that you might want to take. You can learn more every time you go to STS Armory and know that you're in the best of hands. 618-931-GUNS. 618-931-GUNS is the number to call. Visit them in their brand new location in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. STS-armory.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Marco pointed it out. I was going to leave the clock. So as president, you have the power. If I go into the State Department or Department of Commerce or Treasury, if I see anything that I like, I'm allowed to take it. Do you believe this? So I'm in Marco's. I see this gorgeous clock, grandfather clock, and there it is. I said, Marco. He didn't know about it. I had to read him the rule and regulation. I said, Marco, I love this clock. Look at it. It's beautiful. He said, what clock? I said, the clock that's in the other room is incredible, and nobody gets to see it there. Marco, I tried to talk him into it first, and it sort of worked, and then I had to use a little more. I said, I'd love to take that clock out and put it in the cabinet room. He said, no, are you serious? I said, Marco, I have the right to do it, Marco. And he said, all right, what the hell? So that's his contribution to the cabinet room. But it's, by the way, it's an incredible clock.
There's President Trump at the cabinet meeting today. Marco Rubio, of course, the Secretary of State, sitting to President Trump's immediate right. And I just find that story incredibly endearing, coming from the president, being like, Marco, I'm taking your clock. It's beautiful.
I guess he has the right.
He stated the statute that says he can take what he wants.
I don't know. It's is it Seinfeld when Kramer is selling Cuban cigars and the guy goes, I like that jacket.
I don't know. You're talking the wrong
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's what it reminded me of.
The YouTube live chat poll for today: how should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? Deport all illegal immigrants? Legal status for some workers, or pathway to citizenship? Brad, what do you think?
I think that they should deport all illegal immigrants. You are not here legally. Go back and come back in the right way, and then we'll talk about citizenship or a pathway after that.
Ryan?
Trump tried to do something different than this in 2018, and the left actually blocked him. And then they imported as many illegal immigrants as they could. So you really have to deport all illegal immigrants now.
Yeah, I'm for deporting all illegal immigrants, but my caveat to that is I really hope that this administration gets behind talking about what happens after that and how we can improve the current immigration system to better serve our needs as a country. Our needs as a country have to come before the needs of everybody else, right? It's not a crazy statement, is it?
It's why anybody would disagree with that?
And are we not an enormously generous country?
The most generous in the world.
The most generous in the world. So it's not like to say that we do have to make sure that we protect American interests too. It shouldn't be the last thought. It should be the first thought. And we will become a country that is more able to bless people and countries and people around the world if we have our house in order. And we have to prioritize it. And I believe it is very sad, emotionally upsetting, and frustrating that the problem is the way it is, that it has to be rectified this way. It is incredibly unfortunate, and it is important to look to the people who caused this problem when you have that anger.
I don't know, Annie. I think you're pretty crazy for
Thank
that
you.
take, personally.
Yeah. There you go.
200 and...
Echan7 on X.
Got to transition today. The results for the YouTube live chat poll. That was
There
for
you
you,
go.
Ryan. 275 votes. How should the Trump administration handle the illegal immigration crisis? 61% say deport all illegal immigrants. 26% say legal status for some workers, and 12% say pathway to citizenship.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are the results of today's poll. A reminder, you can stream us on the Odyssey app. You can keep it right there on 97.1 FM Talk, because the Mark Reardon Show is coming up next.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game. It's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody, it's our favorite song.
This is Victor Scott II, and there's something for everyone at Busch Stadium. Meet us at the ballpark on Sunday, July 13th, as the Cardinals take on the Braves. 20,000 fans, ages 16 and up, will score a slick retro warm-up jersey courtesy of Mercy. And 10,000 kids 15 and under can grab a one-of-a-kind Cardinals basketball thanks to the Pasta House Company. It's fun for the whole family. Don't miss it. Get tickets at cardinals.com/promotion. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Point Pest Control, that's point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. Your bug problem doesn't need to be your bug problem anymore when you have a solution. And that solution is at 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. You can fight the nasty mosquitoes that are outside this season. Gosh, they're awful. They're just the worst. You don't have to deal with that. They can come out and treat your location to make sure if you're having like a special gathering, if you've got a pool area, a backyard, or maybe a location where you just want to be able to enjoy the outside without having to let the mosquitoes feast on your guests. Call Point Pest Control and they will handle that for you. For critters, for bugs, for spiders, get rid of them with Point Pest Control. Mention Annie when you give them a call. You'll get an extra 10% discount on the top of any specials that they have going on. 636-798-0023. Call 636-798-0023. Point with an E. PointPestControl.com.
The heat's really been extreme last week or so. I have a wife that's going through change of life, and she woke me up 3 a.m. and said there's something wrong with the air conditioner. I checked the thermostat, and it's set at 66, and it is saying 66. Like we set it every single night. I said, okay, how do you feel? She goes, okay, well, as long as it's 66. And then within 2 minutes, all the covers are back on her, and she says she is freezing. I said, honey, the air conditioner isn't broke. Your thermostat is broke. So if you're living that way, my advice is this. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but here's what I do. I keep my laughter inside. It is real what they're feeling. You don't need to call me. You can say you called me, but you don't need to call me. Save your money. This is Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. God bless.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They're searching for a miracle. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Day 5 in Texas Hill Country, where at least 109 are confirmed dead now in Friday's flash floods.
Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha asking private boats to stay off the Guadalupe